Oh yeah! Welcome to How Can She Snap? This is the Marvel Snap podcast dedicated to the filthy casual. I'm the kid, one half of the Super Snap Bros, here with my brother from the same mother, Mr.
No big deal, baby.
Oh yeah, he's here. We got a very, very special guest this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. She is the maven of mathematics, the princess, or the Pythagorean princess. She is the crown jewel of the Marvel Snap community. Please welcome the senorita of statistics, co-host of the Snap on This podcast, Miss LaurenWhatevs. Thanks for joining us, Lauren. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're pumped to have you. You got an awesome getup, full theme. You looking better than us with the '80s theme. I love it. Your glasses are better.
Gotta step my game up.
No big deal's got to step up. Look at him out there, just slacking. He's gonna be cut from the pod. You're welcome anytime. We got yeah, exactly. We got a pretty cool episode for everyone today. We're gonna be talking about the new card, Toxin, the third bounce card it seems. Kind of ravaging through the meta. We got a big OTA with a big question mark. Nobody knows what's going on with this OTA, but we're gonna talk about it. We gave it a quick once over. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna go over the high voltage and just give our thoughts on high voltage and maybe have a little bit of a talk of the economy and the snaps. Now that we got LaurenWhatevs here, we got to take advantage. She's got all the stats. Let's get it. The kid, Lauren. How the heck are you? Welcome to the pod. Thanks for coming.
I'm happy. I'm so excited about this get up. It's almost all new clothes, and I have been wanting giant pink lightning bolt earrings for forever. So you gave me an excuse to grab some.
I'm jealous. You're gonna make me want to pierce my ears. I see those. Great. I'm like, man, maybe I could just do one. Get that little '80s theme, like a feather or something like that. I don't know. True. But I think No Big Deal should do it. He's lacking in the accessory department.
Yeah,
Look at
I
him.
gotta step it up for sure. Yeah. even I get some clip-on earrings or something. Yeah,
that's what's gonna take this to the next level.
Oh yeah, the '80s. You gotta if you're a guy in the '80s, you just the left ear apparently, right? So I'll go just left ear, and then I need the headband too, man. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like it. How you liking the meta right now? How are you feeling?
I should know how it is because I've been playing a lot more the past week or two. I guess that means I'm having fun. But I'm really just I have felt so out of touch with the meta lately. As long as there's not hella everywhere, I'm usually happy.
Yeah, I haven't really seen any hella. I mean,
not much.
Not much. I mean, to be fair, I have been just grinding the heck out of high voltage. It's so easy to do missions, alliance missions, get fit points, and the games are just so quick and meaningless, and you just do wild things. It's so much fun. I kind of loved it, honestly. I'm a little bit sad that it's gone, but I think that if it stayed on for longer, I would eventually got really sick of it. So I think 1 week's a perfect amount for that game mode. But
I was wondering how you got 24 cubes and 7K alliance points. I was like, what are we doing over there? So it's just high voltage. That makes a lot of sense.
All high voltage.
Yeah.
It was very apparent this week, which mode people were playing just by looking at the scoreboard.
Yeah, there was one point I had 4,000 points and then 0 cubes. And I was just all high voltage. I wasn't even playing the other modes. It was funny, and that was just a couple days ago because I'm I just want to grind it all out before it goes away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Did you like that mode?
Me? Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was great to have a mode. Deadpool's Diner only captured this a little bit, right? And Conquest a little bit, but this mode was very different as far as what decks do you bring? What's the strategy? I think that was fun. I agree. I don't know how fun it would have been extended over a period of time, if it got solved. But for a week of chaos, it was great.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if they do I like how they banned cards. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and a rotating ban could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, preemptive ban before people abuse Galactus on the first day and everybody loses their mind. Turn one, or it would be turn 2 Galactus, I guess. But yeah, even that would cause problems. So
or just banning all the tech cards or something for a week would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Just to see like just weird stuff. Because sometimes like you're trying to do these weird combos in high voltage, and then like people are playing like Cosmo and Shang-Chi and stuff, and you're like, guys, what are you doing? Come on, like what's the high voltage? Like it's 3 turns. Like I don't know.
What happens to the meta when there's no Cosmo, no Shang, no Enchantress?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
It almost felt like that in high voltage. It was pretty close to that. Yeah.
For the most part, it did. Yeah. And what I didn't understand was this didn't happen too much for me, but there's a couple people that like forfeited on turn 3. I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Like, just let me fill up all the locations and get my quest here. It's like 3 locations.
That's like not snapping on ego, you know? Like, you got to stay for all 3 turns in high voltage. What are we doing, guys?
Or retreating on, like, the final turn of Proving Grounds when you both snap turn 1. I'm like,
right. Yeah.
You're in an alliance. You know why I'm here. Like, come on. Give me my 8 cubes.
Let's get it over with. And exactly. Yeah. On to the next game with 8 cubes.
Oh, 100%. I agree. No big deal. What do you see in the meta? You're playing the real modes more than me.
Well, I mean, as you know, I haven't been playing Conquest in the last 4 months, but and Lauren, you're a big time Storm fan, and you informed me last week, kid, that there's a Storm variant in the Conquest shop. So I've just been playing Conquest nonstop for like 2 days now, 2-3 days, and we got the Infinite Tick today. We went through Silver, went through Gold, got the Infinite Tick with sweet Storm lockdown list. That I'll show you later, Lauren. It's an absolute beauty. I'm having a blast with this thing. But, the meta, to me, is not that different than it was last week. It's just less discard. And, you replace the Scorn discard people with just bounce players. And it's just bounce decks. Agent Venom, happy we were right about that. We did a tier list 2 days after the Agent Venom came out. We put it in the broken tier. I think we nailed it there, kid. Broken ass card, Agent Venom. So every top deck in the game right now has the Agent Venom card in it. Which is good, whatever. It's a fun card, right? Very strange. Their solution to that was to buff Shadow King, but on the OTA. So the OTA did not solve the Agent Venom problem. So it's Agent Venom's world right now, and we're living in it. And you either got to be able to outpower them or have some sort of tech or disruption against that deck. And one of the main disruption decks, Darkhawk, got pretty big hit on this OT as well. So even that was one way to disrupt the Agent Venom deck. Just give them 3 Black Widows or whatever. But rip Rock Slide. I mean, we'll get to that too. But So just it's Agent Venom meta. I'm actually not mad about it. I think the decks are kind of fun. I like the low Venom decks. I like the Iron Man shit. It does feel a little bit tier 0 type of thing to me. But I'm having a good time. I'm finding playing some Cerebro 3, played some Cerebro 5. And some lockdown, and I'm having fun at the very least.
Yeah, I feel like too, this meta. I actually have been playing a little bit of the other modes too, not just high voltage. That was a few days ago, but I feel like even with these Agent Venom decks, the thing I kind of like about it is I do feel like I'm in the game most of the time. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's these games that I can win them if I draw right or whatever. It's not like when Hela was meta, and it's just fuck, I'm just whatever. They're just gonna have all this power, and I have no idea what the hell is gonna happen. Mm-hmm. At least I feel like there's a little bit more I can think a little bit more and do things a little bit better. And I don't feel like they're definitely very very strong. Obviously, they're the strongest decks in the game, the Agent Venom ones. But I don't feel like I'm being rolled by them every single game. You know what I mean? I don't know if does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think they've kind of balanced us into that. They've guided us into that with the OTAs at this point. It's you knock out Sandman, you knock out Galactus, you knock out Professor X, RIP Professor X. Now we knock out, Storm Legion War Machine, 3, 4, 5. And all the feels bad stuff that stops you from playing the game. Hela, uninteractive deck, just nuke her to the absolute ground, just absolutely just kick her in the face, minus $3 cards for no reason. So let's get Hela the fuck out of here. Get her out of here. So, we do that with Hela. And then at least with the Agent Venom deck, there is interaction. They are playing cards on the board, but you can interact with these cards. You can Cosmo, you can Shadow King, you can Lady Deathstrike or something. There's some stuff you could do. You could still shut off a lane. And so, you have, a lot of people are doing Invisible Woman, Killmonger. All the ones just disappear. And so there's actually some big tech. There's a Sasquatch tech deck that's top of the untapped stats right now. So you could do some nasty things to interact with it, and you just couldn't do that with the the other decks. So I think they're being very deliberate in that. All the feels bad decks are just getting just absolutely punched in the head. And we're kind of just left with where are the points going?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of like that they're doing that. But also at the same time, it's like it is kind of a better experience. Like I don't feel like ever like what am I doing when I'm playing the game? Where I'm like, man, okay, hell cow, hella, and then win. Like what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah. Why am I playing this game? You know, I don't get that anymore.
It seems so tough to balance that because you do want variety. You do want the players who love those like punishing decks. You want them to have fun too, but
this guy, he's a
well, just hella. Just for me, I'm just Well, I guess I play Lockdown too. Yeah, maybe I'm the problem.
Lockdown. I realized this a few months ago. I was like, oh, I hate Sandman. I hate all this, but wait, Lockdown is my favorite archetype of the game. So I'm the problem. It's just that's just the flavor of the problem that I like.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you make it so that they're viable but not everywhere?
Right. I think that's what they're trying to do, right? I think they're actively they're not even trying to hide that anymore, right?
It just seems so fragile, which is why it has to get tuned constantly, and there always is something that slips through.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lockdown is fun. I'm gonna throw it out there. I might get some shade here, but I love the old Spider-Man Lockdown list. Old Spider-Man, where you just couldn't play cards. That was amazing. I love those lists.
He was great.
Those are some of the first like Infinity tickets, or like I don't know what it was, but like or like
Zabu's heyday.
Yeah, those.
Yeah,
I never.
Haivo came out. Haivo Lockdown was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, those were good times. But did you guys? I guess we should talk about the new card. It's on the screen here. Toxin. Did you guys get Toxin?
I'll go first. I'll just say I rolled. I got two keys, which is nice. Pretty lucky. I have not played this card once yet. I don't know. I just have not been in the mood to play Bounce. I think it's really good. I think the card's insanely good, actually. But I haven't played it yet. What about you, Lauren?
I went tokens on him, just trying to save keys for a multi-card week. I have played so much more this week than I do normally because I've had so much fun with this card. I love Toxin. It was a blast.
Yeah, Toxin seems really fun. I do like this card. I have played him a little bit. I have played some bounce lists. I gotta be honest. I played mostly Phoenix Force, but like I did play a good amount of bounce with this card, and he does seem like a lot of fun. I mean, he's like getting a third bounce enabler is pretty cracked, actually. Are you one of the Hit Monkey bounce people or the Werewolf by Night bounce people?
Oh yeah, I'm mostly running Hit Monkey. I'm just having so much fun with that deck. I've been tinkering with it just a little bit, but it's been Hit Monkey the whole time, and I don't know. Last time I was playing Bounce, which is months ago, I was having a lot of fun with Werewolf by Night. Like, that's a really fun, big brain final turn where just stuff's flying everywhere. I'm Team Hitmonkey because Team Hitmonkey gets Mysterio, and I love Mysterio.
Yeah. I like Hitmonkey. The one I've been playing is with Hitmonkey as well. I don't think I have Mysterio on the list. I forget if I do now, but the one I've been playing, I have played ones with Mysterio, but like I like honestly the Black Swan activate
that's another good way to do it.
Awesome. I love it. I like just to activate Black Swan, and then your turn 6 is like Sage Hitmonkey with all the 1-drops. It's awesome. I love it. Just playing a big monkey is so much fun. But I have seen actually a little bit of Mobius kind of creeping back in the meta, and it's no fun when they play Mobius and you're trying to play Black Swan Hitmonkey stuff.
I'm not seeing it, but you probably see it from my DMs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody else playing it.
I've got Mobius a couple times.
I've seen him a little bit. Yeah, he's on the rise.
But yeah, I mean, this card's a really good card. I mean, I guess the question is he played in any other deck other than Bounce? Maybe, but not any top tier deck that I can see yet.
Maybe move, like, which is kind of like Bounce in a way, like move Bounce, you know. I think he's got some legs there, and he might even replace like the Falcon or the Beast, like just straight up replace one of those cards with Toxin. I think he's got some potential in a deck like that. I haven't played it yet, but if you get like a 2/7 on the board in a deck like that, it's really valuable. I think you really only need one Bounce. All the cards are so cheap anyway. Like Vulture is probably like your most expensive card in a deck like that. So I think in a move bounce deck he'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah, even this guy too, bouncing him back, like bouncing Toxin back sometimes with Beast is like, he can get double digits. It's like kind of crazy actually. You're just like holding him in your hand. And you're like, it's pretty nuts card, man.
Yeah,
I
or
like it.
Cloning him with Nico.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
my
that's
God.
dirty. I didn't think of that. I haven't seen that yet. Yeah,
Nico's great.
I had a very fun game. It's just a one-off, but I had him on Bar Sinister, and I picked up Toxin with Toxin, and then I got to play like a 13-power Toxin. I moved him over a lane with Nico. My hand was so full I could play Toxins, and they'd stay on the board. I had like 7 Toxins by the end of the game that were all double digits.
That's awesome. Bar Sinister makes for some really fun games sometimes.
Just
it's like
silly, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So Lauren, you were saying you were tweaking the bounce list a little bit with the Toxin. What are you playing in there? Like Mysterio? Are you playing Bishop or what?
I have a little bit of juice. Yeah, Bishop. Yes, Bishop is actually why I first felt safe cutting Sage, because my Bishop was regularly getting gigantic. Having an extra bouncer meant that I regularly got to hit 12, 13, even higher power with Bishop. That's enough. Like Bishop, a big Bishop and a big Hit Monkey can win a game. So I cut Sage for Black Swan, tried that for a little bit. I'm running all 3 bouncers. That felt like overkill. Like, I think that Black Swan might fit with 2 bouncers, but I don't know with 3. Maybe. The thing that I finally did, because I was joking. Okay, so on our podcast, I've been joking, like, oh, now I can bounce a bouncer, and I can bounce again. And Ben's like, there's no point doing that in a 6-turn game. And I'm like, bet. So I was joking. I was like, what if I threw in Wasp to make Toxin even better? But I have loved Wasp. Wasp is extra 2 power for Toxin, extra power for Bishop, extra power for Hit Monkey, and a great Agent Venom target.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask you to play Venom too. Yeah, 0-4.
She's my secret sauce for my bounce deck, which is extremely similar to this. Just...
Yeah, what is it? Why don't you tell us?
It's basically what's on screen, except for Black Swan is Wasp. Yeah. That's it, yeah.
That's awesome. That's spicy. I love that.
Yeah, we'll say the list too. It's Wasp, Hood, Rocket Raccoon, Silver Sable, Nico, Toxin, Falcon, Agent Venom, Mysterio, Bishop, Hitmonkey, and Beast. And then the one I was playing the most was just Black Swan in for Wasp and Sage in for Bishop. That was the main one. And then I did tinker around with Iceman as well. I do like Iceman in these lists too. I have seen some lists with 5 1-drops, which is fun as well. You are at the mercy of Killmonger though. If that card ever shows up, you're kind of screwed. Or you have to throw priority. Like,
got to throw priority. Yeah, it's a classic.
You really have to throw priority. But yeah, Mysterio and Agent Venom's pretty cracked whenever it works. It's really good. Maybe. Do you think 3 bouncers is too much? Because it seems pretty good in this type of list. Like,
going into it, I was thinking 2 is going to be optimal, but there will be decks that run 3. But having played it with 3 enough, 3's the way to go. At least in this style of deck.
Everything's small.
It's basically every turn you get 2 or every game you get 2 bouncers. You're almost guaranteed to get 1.
Yeah, a lot of the old bounce decks would run like an Iron Man or a Dark Hawk or something like that. Like, your deck's all small here, so you could actually play. You could just keep playing the.
Yeah, you gotta lean into bounce. You gotta do bounce even bouncier.
Yeah, it's great. I do love personally. I love the Black Swan. It's just I love cheating the mana. I don't know if it's like better or not. I have no clue. I just know it's more fun for me because like. Kind of like I used to hate Falcons so much because I hate how it just brought the cards back and you still have to pay one energy for them. Whereas Beast, you never had to. Yeah. And so now with Black Swan, you could bring them all back with Falcon. And it's like, I'm like, oh, Falcon's a G now. Like, he's great. Like, I'm having so much fun. But yeah.
I've got to try it some more.
Yeah, the 3 bouncers is interesting though. I remember, like, just from outside looking at it, I haven't played too much bounce. I do dabble in the bounce streets a little bit. I like the archetype a lot. But I remember .Geo. I think .Geo has been one of the best bouncers in the world for a while, right? The Italian superstar over there. And he was playing Grandmaster in his bounce deck, which is just like the most big brains. The way you have to set your board up. So he just wanted to get 2 beasts off, basically. He wanted to play Beast twice. So it's kind of like this, right? Where you have 3 bouncers, but it's just Beast in the Grandmaster.
Oh, but getting the discount from Beast twice is huge.
Yeah, so he was. I remember I tried playing it. I played like 10 games. I completely messed up the entire board. I'm like, all right, I can't. This is actually too big, brain. Like I can't. I'm doing my best, and I can't. I'm trying to think it out, and I'm running out of end turn every time. I would run
one
out
of those decks that needs a 10-page guide.
Yeah, it's actually so hard to play. But yeah, he was doing that, and I watched his stream a little bit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, it makes sense. If you're a god like him, you can do this. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, so I think there's some merit to the 3 bounce thing. Like I think you guys are onto something there because Geo was doing it, and he seems to know what he's doing with the archetype, right? So yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, how you described your .geo bounce experience with Grandmaster is how I feel every time I put Werewolf by Night in one of these decks.
Oh, yeah.
And like I think that I'm doing something so good, and then it all falls apart. And then I'm like, damn it! And then it just never
you realize
works.
when you have a quarter of the turn timer left, and you're like, do I just commit to this bad play, or do I try to get it out correctly in 15 seconds?
Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes like I think I did everything correctly, and then the turn plays out, and I'm like, oh nope, it's not bouncing there. Damn it.
No time to redo it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, okay, there we go. So that's why I've been really enjoying Hitmonkey the most for that reason. But yeah, I don't know.
It's good too.
It's fun.
A lot of people are playing the Hitmonkey, so.
It is good. And someone on Twitter put up stats of like basically the 2 bounce decks, like one with Werewolf, one with Hitmonkey. I think it was like I don't know if it was Lufku. I forget who it was, but someone played like I don't know 20 or 30 games with each one with Hitmonkey, one with Werewolf by Night. And the record, I think the record was exactly the same. It was like I don't know, like 60 something percent. It was a high win rate. And then but the cubes were like. Well, one was 45 cubes and one was like 20 cubes. So the Werewolf by Night was 20 and the Hitmonkey was like 40 cubes.
Oh, because
I think they thought that like
because you see the power on the Werewolf side early. Yeah.
I think that's what they were saying. They compared. They're like, hey, I think like maybe Werewolf's like who knows? Maybe it's like stronger. Maybe win more games. I don't know. But if you're like a big brain, but like Hitmonkey's more sneaky. You can sneak out more cubes. It seems with Hitmonkey.
That seems like a similar argument for playing Sage over Bishop.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Sage is the sneaky one. The Bishop's the one who's like sitting there. Although I will tell you, people underestimate Bishop so much. Like I can play 8 cards on turn 6. Like this guy's growing.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. And yeah, that's true. Like even if you threw priority, like even if they Shadow King your Bishop lane, like you literally still get like a 3/9 if you're playing 8 cards, right? Like
yeah,
it's pretty nuts. Yeah, Bishop is a fun card. It's just fun to see the number go up every turn, every time you play a card.
Yeah, Bishop's interesting too, right? You're playing the Bishop on 3, and then Sage you're holding it for 6, right? So I guess it's nice in your list, Lauren. You have like a 1 of each, right? It's like a more balanced deck. You have the Bishop for 3, but you're always holding the Hitmonkey, right? So kind of nice.
Yeah, and a lot of times in these lists too, like if I ever make like a 1 cost substitution, I'll just sub out Rocket Raccoon because I can never hit him. It's just like I'm so bad at like guessing where they're playing.
You gotta play him, man.
And I just put Iceman in. He's just so much. I know Rocket Raccoon's so many points. Like I know he could be like a 113 if you hit him 3 times, but like Iceman, I just feel good about knowing like I'm screwing up their energy.
I really think people sleep on Iceman. I actually, similarly to what you were saying with the comparing the stats, I saw Hoagland post something that was like bounce with Iceman and without, and the one with Iceman had many more cubes and like 60% win rate versus 52, and it's like, yeah, Iceman probably is like the next card I'm gonna try to squeeze in somehow.
Yeah, it's just like Iceman's good, but like you never know how good he is, right? You know how good he is when he's played against you. Sorry, go ahead.
It's invisible. It's really hard to see what he's doing.
Yeah, and like every time someone plays Iceman, like I look at my hand, I'm like, please God, not this card, not this card. And it's like, boom, that card. I'm like, damn it, why? It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Bounce is good. Bounce was good before Toxin. I mean, that was a lot of the top people were playing Bounce when Agent Venom came out, and it was a really good deck. And this card, I think, just elevated it, made it better. So that's it. No big deal. You want to talk about your spice or what?
All right, let's do it. Oh, yes. All right, so
let's talk about this.
So, they made a big change on Storm, okay? And I see a lot of people are freaking out, and I get it. Look, Storm, one of my all-time favorite cards of Marvel Snap. Lauren, I know you're with me on that. I mean, we did a list about a year ago with Glazer on here, and Storm was my number 1 favorite card in the game. back then, but sorry, Lauren, Hello was number 2 on my list. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has changed since then in Marvel Snap. Obviously, like Nocturne wasn't in the game, stuff like that. But they when they do this and they go, oh, we're moving the cost up, but we gave it some power to compensate. It's always this little bullshit 1 power that it's always just a slap in the face. Like, oh, we gave it a power to compensate. We moved it up to a 4 cost and we gave it 1 power. It's like, okay, great, guys. This is a dead card. Like, Storm, however, is a 4/5 now. Like, this is like they actually gave her power. Like, she was a 3/2, now she goes to a 4/5. So I'm like, okay, maybe the card's not dead. Let me try to cook a little bit. Let's just see. I tried to cope with Cerebro. The Cerebro stuff it felt a little more copium. This feels very legit, and I just want to play with the new Zabu. So this is like basically a classic Zabu deck. You got Nebula, Zabu, Ebony Maw, Madam Web, Goose, New Daredevil, 2/3, Mobius. So for those pesky Iceman, those Iceman bouncers, Miss Marvel, Storm, War Machine, Crossbones, and the Infinite. So I do see some people are still playing the Legion. I don't think you need to anymore. I mean, you can. Like, there are ways, right? If Zabu hits either your Storm or War Machine, you can still Storm, War Machine, Legion. Like the combo's still there. But I'll lean into the spirit of kind of what I was saying earlier with, hey, they're trying to get the cheesy bullshit out of the game. And I was a Storm Legion War Machine abuser. Like, absolutely. I was spamming that combo quite a bit, especially in Snap Judge League. So sorry to all my opponents from the last Snap Judge League. I was locking up lanes, spamming emotes the entire time. It is what it is. So we all have fun in our own way.
That's part of the art. Exactly. The emotes, the emotional warfare.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. But so this deck is a little more straightforward. You have obviously the Storm lane, right? So that's the Storm lane kind of speaks for itself. The nice thing especially with new Daredevil. So Daredevil's a 2/3. Something I don't really think about that much is you see exactly what they're playing on the Storm lane now, because you're playing the Storm on 4 a lot of the time. Once in a while you hit a Zabu. But Lauren, you're with Matthew. It's like 1 in 10, maybe even less than that. So you have a 3/5 Storm. It's great when it happens, but when you play the Storm on 4, you have Daredevil out. You see exactly what they're playing on the Storm lane. So you could put just like barely more power in the Storm lane, and then you have you have Madam Web just in case. If you want to move in there, Madam Web moves into an Ebony Maw lane. Madam Web can move into a Goose lane. War Machine lets you play in all the lanes, and then your last turn is like you put like Infinite on a space, for 20 power. That's one way to do it. Just having a Goose lane, like a big Goose lane, you could put an Infinite into a Goose lane if you have War Machine, or it's just like you put like Crossbones Ebony Maw, as your last turn. That's like 17 power. You could spread it up between 2 lanes. So, and then obviously the Mobius is really good against bounce. I was playing Negasonic here because you play with priority a lot. But I just was running into a lot of bounce. So I said, okay, let's try Mobius. And then a lot of the bounce decks have Black Swan and Beast both. And I was getting so many angry emojis on my Mobius because they would play, their Black Swan on 2 and then Mobius on 3. And it's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, Arsham Point. That's what you get. You're trying to reach. You reach, I teach. So, so it's a really fun deck. It definitely open. I've just been messing with the cards a little bit. Played some White Widow in here too. Try to secure prio for the Negasonic, but I figure if I'm taking out Negasonic, let's try Madam Web in that slot. So I actually wasn't playing it with Madam Web before, but she's been great as long as you don't get Super Scroll. And man, it's a really fun deck. It's been actually really good. I have 5-0 in the last 5 Conquest games matches that I've played. So and even pretty good on ladder too. So. Lauren, what do you think of this new lockdown list? I mean, Storm, she has 5 power now. I mean, she has 5 power.
Right. I was at first very, very sad to see her go from a 3 to a 4. Mm-hmm. She loses a lot of flexibility, and also the chances that you can drop her onto an empty lane are lower now. Mm-hmm. But 5 power is a lot more than 2. Yeah. So I have remained cautiously optimistic. I haven't played with it yet, but I love this deck. It's actually quite similar to a deck I was playing last season with Professor X instead. I would not run Infinite just because I'm kind of anti like big cards, but that's just me. That's my style. I think that the Ms. Marvel, I don't remember you listing her as a turn 6 play, but I think she's an awesome turn 6 play to. Oh, yeah. Plus with either Madam Web or the War Machined Ebony Maw, like you can just abandon the Storm lane and drop a lot of surprise power onto it at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And I love the Daredevil play too. Yeah, looks super fun. I will be trying it out. I'll even dare to try with Infinite.
Yeah, even if you want to take Infinite out, I think Eliath would probably be good because his deck does, you know how you've played Storm, you just kind of get Prio when you're playing a Storm deck. So, especially by 6. And especially with Miss Marvel. If you do play Miss Marvel on 4, right, you probably just have Prio, right? So,
and if you have a lane lockdown, your Eliath has a 50% chance of hitting at least. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, true. They do some bounce. They're trying to play all their Rocket Raccoon, Sage, all this stuff. You just purple fart that out of the into oblivion, easy peasy. Iron Man, 5/4 Iron Man. Sorry, it's just a 4 power card now. Get purple farted.
Yeah. This deck's good. Like I played with I haven't played with this version yet. I played with the first version, which had White Widow instead of Madam Web and Negasonic instead of Mobius, and I easily got a gold ticket. Ran through Silver Conquest pretty easily. And yeah, Miss Marvel, unreal turn 6 play, especially if she gets Zabu'd. There was one game where I got an 8-cuber with Crossbones and Miss Marvel on turn 6, and didn't even see it coming. It was wild.
That guy was emo spamming you. That guy was emo spamming
me because I had War Machine down, and I think I forget if I had Storm and War Machine, but I had War Machine down, and he had Super Scroll, and he was emo spamming my War Machine, saying that he took it with the Super Scroll. He was all excited, and then hit him with the Miss Marvel Crossbones on turn 6, and
so much power. Yeah, I would say Crossbones been like hidden MVP of this deck. The Crossbones just winning games. I mean, just a 3/10 is ridiculous, but even just being able to jam him into the Goose lane has been really nice. You can't get Shang-Chi if it's under a Goose lane too, right? So you're just kind of protected. Nobody's really playing Shang-Chi anyway, but even if they were, they can't do anything against the Goose or in a Storm lane. Storm lane, Goose lane. I mean, Crossbones just fits. I was thinking about, you have 3 1-drops. You could play Call Obsidian, but Ebony Maw is a little restrictive. Killmonger is everywhere. So, you can play Call Obsidian. I'm kind of just feeling the Crossbones, though. I feel like, again, Prio is really easy to come by in a deck like this. So, you can make it work. Even if you don't get the War Machine, you usually just have Prio. You're winning a lane somewhere. You could just play the Crossbones.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lauren.
I was gonna say I have no idea where you'd fit her in, but it's making me want either Hope Summers or Magic, because then you get either a Zabu 4 plus a regular 4, or you get Ebony Maw plus Infinite on a final turn. But yeah, I really don't know where they'd fit in. I'm just like, those are some spicy turns if you can get 7 energy.
Yeah,
honestly, I was gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Daredevil's probably not necessary in this deck. I just love him because he was new, and nobody deals just cooking a new deck with a new Daredevil. I'm like, man, I just love playing this card. He's just fun. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's optimal in this list. Do you think? I don't know. It is nice to know if you Storm and have Daredevil. It's really nice info, but can he be something else to make this deck more optimal? Probably. A Hope Summers would be good.
Yeah, maybe. And it's hey, Popper. Hi, Pop. That's a cute Popper.
I think Daredevil's great even when you're not playing something that's meant to take advantage of him, right? Of course it's good if you've got the Hobgoblin, Gamora, Professor X, something like that. But I think it's a very strong ability.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that too, kid, but I'm having a hard time taking him out because, you play against these bounce decks, right? And, there was one Conquest where I 3 times the guy's playing Rocket Raccoon on turn 5. And it's okay, we're just juking, baby. We're just juking the Rocket Raccoon every time. I know he's playing it there. It's great. Because the bounce player, they're in a bit of a bind, right? You have to play your Beast at some point. You have to play your Toxin. You have to set up your lane. And so, unless it's only turn 6, but what if you want to play it, bounce it again, play it again, right? Then, you have to play it on 5. So it's really nice to see where they're playing on 5. Lets you kind of, like I was saying, if you lock down one lane with Storm, then Daredevil gives you 2 turns to basically just all in another lane. And I find that's a really, that's why I like Infinite in here. Because you kind of set up the Infinite. You have your Storm lane, then it's okay, they're playing here. I'll go, War Machine there or Crossbones there or, Miss Marvel to make sure that lane gets 5, and then Infinite's going to go there on 6. I kind of have I know I'm just going to be adding 30 power to that lane over the next 2 turns, and we'll see if they can match my 36 power lane, So that I kind of like the Daredevil a lot. He gives you I don't know. He's so much better as a 2/3. It feels so much better than before. I can't even stress enough.
If you did do this is useful even with the Infinite, but if you did the Alliance swap, Daredevil lets you for sure know if you're going to have priority or not going into the last turn.
That's true. Yeah.
That's true as well, actually. That's really good. Yeah, Elias is so good in this meta. I play him in my Phoenix Force deck, or Jets Phoenix Force deck, and he's so good. It's such a good card right now. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, no big deal. You beat a tribunal list with this. You want to go through that? How the hell did you do that?
They took me for five cube match too, where
with Super Scroll. They had Super Scroll too.
Yeah, it was funny. No, it was funny. There was one game in that where I'm like, I think I got enough, and I had 37 in 2 lanes, It was because it's turn 7. Because like you said, Lauren, you could play Magic in a deck like this, right? So, I'm playing against Magic, obviously. So I got 37 in 2 lanes. I'm like, they'll have 28 across 3. I'm good. And they ended up going to 41 across that. So I lost 5 cubes there, but I still ended up clutching it out. It's tricky because the Tribunal player, they have to play all of their cards on one spot. They have to stack them up very specifically, right? You have the Onslaught into the Mystique or the Onslaught on top of the Iron Man. And Storm just kind of throws that all for a loop. You do have to hold the Storm till 5 because, they're Magic gamers, right? So, you got the classic game of chicken against the, Storm and Magic. They kind of counter each other in a way. You could shut it off, on 6, obviously. And with a 4/5, that feels pretty good, by the way. As you actually just, you're throwing 5 power and ending the game, which, you actually need that 5 power to end the game. So, they're you do Storm Ebony Maw last turn, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, so the Goose card is the key to beating the Tribunal deck. Almost all and Goose and Mobius, because they're playing Sarah and they're playing Ravonna. So Mobius just shuts down all the cost reduction. They can't duck under your Goose, and their Super Scroll, absolute pain in the ass to deal with. Super Scroll Madam Web, Super Scroll of Miss Marvel, Super Scroll War Machine is the worst one. They getting your War Machine is just absolutely tilting. But
Super Scroll's a Goose too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Or an Ebony Maw.
And an Ebony Maw, exactly. So that's what I was gonna say. So Lauren play. I'm happy. Someone here who plays the same bullshit decks that I like to play. This is great. I'm happy. You get it, So the key is you got to make sure your Goose is in a different lane than their Super Scroll. Then you have 2 Gooses on the board, and they can't play the game. So.
So mean.
Yeah, it's great. You storm the other lane, GG. So that's what you got to do. You got to be patient. You have 7 turns. You have 7 turns to play with, so you could be a little more patient, and just lock down, man. We're locking down lanes. That's what we're doing, with this deck. So the Zabu is pretty fun. Getting these cards Miss Marvel's a 3/14, 3/10 Crossbones, you playing a Storm or War Machine 1 turn early feels really nice. So, and to your point, hits. Lauren, there's a lot of ways you could build this deck. You could play Electro, Cersei type of stuff. Now you could get the Infinite Ebony Maw in the last turn. So there are other ways. That's the JJ Rolk was doing that. I played that deck a bit. You could play it with Hood, Sentry, and Annihilus. Sentry is a Zabu card, and then obviously the classic Void on the Storm lane. So you always play your Storm right. Hood, Sentry, Annihilus. Ship it, and then yeah. So there's it's interesting. You have to play the War Machine. I'm just leaning into the kind of War Machine. Oh, one thing I gotta point out. One of the hardest counters to Storm is the card War Machine, and now with the new Storm, nobody's playing War Machine. So they nerfed Storm. Now nobody's playing War Machine anymore. So he's nowhere to be seen now because everyone's sad they couldn't do their bullshit combo. So Storm stonks At least just we're recording this as of Friday, October 25th. Storm stonks, baby. We're rolling.
Yeah. And would you say, is there an optimal place to do Storm? Because I still see a lot of move, so I tend to want to lean more towards storming the right lane if I can, if the location makes sense. Is that what you're doing?
I usually go right, but if not right, I like left because of the card Miss Marvel, just in case I got to add 5. Lauren was saying, turn 6. Sometimes you got to add just a quick 5 to your Storm lane, and that's enough to kind of get it done. So I think right or left is probably optimal, but I mean, every game's different, man. That's the beauty. Storm's such a fun card, you know. Some locations are just really nice to shut off, and yeah, man, I love this card. It has so much depth like a Storm card. I'm fired up to get the variant for the Conquest this month.
That's great.
This is calling back to like an old W deck, like over a year ago. But he was just crushing with, I think it was Thanos and Professor X back in the day. And when asked about like what's the secret to the deck, he was kind of like a little begrudging, but he gave it, and he was like, I play on the right lane early. And it's basically like setting up that Professor X with the extra power that your opponent's not challenging. And I think that's kind of true with Storm too, where it's like, oh, you can play another card or two there to set up for like, what are they going to challenge by the time you've got 3 cards there and the last one's Storm?
Yeah, that's a good point. And to W's point and your point, like I really like Nebula on the right lane on turn 1 for that reason. Like sometimes the location calls for it on the first one where you're like, let's say it's Raptors or something, right? You know, it's like, all right, fuck it, let's just Nebula on the Raptors, classic. But you know, a lot of time I just Nebula right in the dark because they probably don't want to play in the dark anyway. So you just want to put your Nebula where they don't want to play, and then obviously Storm right's already good. You want to storm your Nebula lane, so I think setting up early, like with the Nebula, right, to then set up the Storm, makes a lot of sense. And then you could always add Miss Marvel after.
With Storm, most problem locations aren't problems. Like, bar with no name, you know?
Yeah,
it's great.
I mean, you're in trouble if it's Space Throne, but it's worth the gamble most of the time.
Oh yeah.
I've had it happen to me like with other decks like 3 times so far with the new White Widow, where it ends up being Space Throne and just immediately destroys the Widow's Kiss, and I'm left with a 2/2. I'm like, damn it! And then they snap, and I'm like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, nothing you can do there. Yeah.
This happened 3 times to me already. I'm like, come on, what are we doing? But yeah, man, yeah, this list is fun. I'm excited to take this exact one into Conquest and see what happens. You know, this looks like a lot of fun.
And both of you know, let me know if you come up with any suggestions too. I mean, this feels really tight to me now, but like you said, Lauren, there's so many different ways you could build the lockdown list.
Yeah, Eliath is a good call too. Eliath is a fun card. And usually the 10 power.
I'm an Infinite slappy, so you know I love slapping the Infinite down. You know, I'm a big time. Also one of my favorite cards of the game. So yeah, definitely you could replace it with Eliath or something like that for sure. Or even a lot of people play Doctor Doom in their lockdown list. I mean, not like you got options.
It's true. All right, let's talk about these. Let's talk about these OTAs. Do you guys have any other comments on the meta or any other decks we want to talk about before we get into there?
Nah, man, I'm good. Ready to rock and roll.
Let's talk about the OTAs and
very
the ones I read once quickly, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna save like a genuine reaction for the pod here because like I was so confused. So some of these we already talked about. You know, it's the 24th balance, October 24th. This was yesterday, so we had it for a day so far. We've been playing with these changes. Overall, the meta feels okay, but you know. Let's go through these changes. Let's just start. We talked about Storm a little bit. Storm's the first one on here. She was a 3/2 to a 4/5. Yeah, like I said, we kind of talked about this already. I don't know what are your overall, Lauren? What are your overall thoughts on this change? Like when you first saw this, what was going through your head?
I mean, the first thing is like, oh, it's yet again a low series card taking a bullet for a high series card. Like, why are we doing this, and why are we hitting lockdown again? Of all, like, lockdown has been hit so hard.
Yeah.
But then there was like, but 5 power though might be okay. New Zabu though. So, I my first reaction was overall cautious optimism.
Yeah, I mean, no, we do. We'll save you for last because this is like you love this card so much, but I was very confused that like like you said, Lauren, it's a low series card, so for them just to like add an energy is no joke. At least they did add 3 power, which is really good, but like you know, obviously the second inner has all the data, but like I had never thought that I haven't really thought that this War Machine Legion Storm combo was an insane problem that was like, you know, tyrannical within the meta. You know, I felt like Hela a few weeks ago or a month ago was way worse than this. And I wasn't like that mad about Hela, but it did get annoying. But like, I digress. This didn't seem like a horribly like oppressive combo to me that was taking over the meta, that was ruining my time. Obviously, I'm just one person, so that's it. But I'm surprised they chose to nerf Storm instead of like War Machine again. And I liked War Machine's ongoing ability. I'm glad they kept that. But if they made him like a 4-4 or a 4-5, I think that would have been a better place to start, in my opinion. To keep like the Storm the same, because like a 3, it's nice to have Storm on a 3, but yeah, 4-5 Storm seems to be doing pretty good. I don't know, so but still, like I would have rather them start with War Machine and just take more power off War Machine, leave the ongoing ability, and see what happens there. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is like a data-driven change, kid. You're kind of talking like that. Oh, like let's make the deck worse. To your point, the deck was not much of an issue. It was a fine deck. It was, definitely not a top 2 deck in the game. You know what I mean? So like anything with Storm, War Machine, Legion. I was liking the Desmond made a Scream build like that. I definitely would have been bringing up on here if it didn't just get nuked in the OTA. With this change to Storm, but he had a really cool, Desmond, the top player, one of the top players in Korea. He had a sweet Scream build with Storm, and actually unironically running Kingpin as well, and even post Juggernaut random nerf to Kingpin there, but like the really cool deck, but they nuked that with this change too. I think this is just simply the same as the Galactus change, same as the Sandman change. They don't want a thing in the game that stops you from playing the game. It's as simple as that. So then you think, okay, well, should they hit Legion? Should they hit War Machine? Well, they've already touched War Machine twice, and I actually think War Machine's in a pretty good spot. 4-6 ongoing. I really like the War Machine card at a 4-6 ongoing, and then it's like we already nerfed Legion, right? I heard somebody suggest like let's move Legion to 6. I don't know, man. I think that's a bad card. Like a 6 cost Legion. Even if it's like a 9 power or something, I think that's just a straight up bad card in my opinion. Like having to play him on 5 is you get really oppressive. Like you really shut some stuff down. Like lock down locations where they can't play. Like you get some ninjas. Like get 3 ninjas on the board. Like you could go crazy on 5, or if you could ramp them out on 4, even like Legion can get cracked. So it's like that leaves Storm. Right, and it's like if you don't want the 3, 4, 5, let's stop everybody from playing the game. We have to hit one of these cards, and their cost has to be increased. So you either increase War Machine cost, don't love that. Increase Legion cost, don't love that. Here we are. I mean, emotionally, I don't love it, but I get it, and I'm actually like really not that upset about this.
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big time Hela enjoyer. I get why they want to nerf Hela. Like, I'm not like ignorant. I get it. Yeah. So
at least
okay.
you.
I actually don't mind this change that much. The rest of this OTA is very very strange. So
yeah, as long as you're aware of your toxicity, that's all we can ask for. You're self-aware. So
they want people to have fun playing the game. What can you do?
Meek was a 1-0 and they made him a 1-1. Lauren, what do you think about this?
The reason's a little weird because it's like, oh, Scorn is a better one, so we better give Meek a reason to exist. It's like, if you were okay with a 1-cost discard card being that powerful, why did it need Scorn to motivate it? I don't know. Especially because isn't this like the opposite of a change they've done before? Wasn't Meek 1-1 and then they changed it back to 1-0?
Yeah, it came out as a 1-1.
Which I guess they did with Apocalypse also, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Discard's a deck that they've just had all over the place.
Yeah.
This change is fine, right? It's 1 power. Scorn's probably still better, but they're different. And I think the 1 extra power might justify playing both of them in the same deck.
Yeah, I'm not a discard player, so again, I'll let No Big Deal take this at the end. I'll let you get the last word. Yeah, I just feel like this is kind of a nothing change. Of course, it's better. I don't know if people are going to play Meek in discard list. I don't think I would want to. Scorn just seems so much better than Meek. Scorn's been doing work in these discard lists. Like Scorn is so good. If they change Meek, I'd like them just to make Meek way stronger. Like make him a 3+3 like dagger or something, a 3/0 +3 for everything discarded, or like a 2+2 or something. Maybe not 3+3, like I'm getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like maybe like a 2/0 +2 or something for everything discarded, and something like that. I don't know. Again, one's a cool card, but like 1/1, I don't know if it's gonna change, the deck trajectory at all. I don't know if people are gonna be adding Meek in their discard list, but like, I'm not a discard bro, so no big deal. What do you think?
Well, it's weird. The way they're balancing is weird. I actually just agree with Lauren's opinion on this 100%. I mean, Scorn is a one-cost Apocalypse, so you're not taking Scorn out of your deck. But maybe now you're going to play both. And I think it's definitely worth experimenting to play 1/1 Mika. He's just a little bit underpowered. The problem is it's bounce meta, and therefore it's Killmonger meta. So it's just not a good time for Meek. But if the Killmonger usage ever like relaxes a little bit and calms down, I think Meek can be like a legit card to play alongside Scorn. I don't think you're taking that absolutely like crazy one cost Apocalypse in your deck. You're not taking that out. So it's got to be either Meek would come instead of a Gambit or a Moon Knight or something like that. So he would take that spot, I think. So I think this is a fine change. I find it weird how they balance MODOK discard. We said it with Hela, kid. I would just love to see Hela just be like a 6/1, or like without all the cost reduction stuff. Like just make her a 6/0, 6/1, like 6/2. Just nerf the Hela. And I think in MODOK discard, I think you could do that with cards like basically MODOK and Corvus are really your only two cards that can just discard a bunch of cards in your hand. So if I were trying to tone down or add power to a discard list, I would go after MODOK personally. But for some reason they hit Apocalypse and Meek, so that I don't get. But I do like this change overall. I think Meek needed this change since he went to a 1/0. He didn't feel very good. So and he felt like pretty good at a 1/1 before Scorn came out.
Yeah, I guess that was gonna be my question too. Is what do you cut? Because the list seems pretty good right now, and my thing was gonna be maybe Gambit.
Yeah, Lady Sif, Gambit, Moon Knight. One of them maybe in a when you're not running into Killmonger 38% of the time is better than Meek. Because you got to play Meek on one. Like you have to play him because you're playing cards like MODOK, so you will discard your Meek. And even some Scorn lists are playing Swordmaster too, which actually might be optimal. I mean, they playing against them, they seem really strong. So Swordmaster will hit your Meek too. So you do have to get him out of your hand, and that means he's just asking. He's asking for it. He wants to get Killmonger.
He's gonna get Killmongered or discarded.
He's like a Killmonger magnet.
Yeah. All right. This one they told us about last week. Misery 4/7 to a 4/8. This was a head scratcher for me last week. I'm just gonna be honest. I was playing Jet's Misery Phoenix Force deck, which basically you can get 3 Black Widows out, which is like really annoying and really awesome at the same time for you, not for the person you're playing against.
Yeah.
But Misery felt good. Like I didn't feel like Misery was bad. I didn't feel like Misery was overpowered, obviously, but I did not feel like I was like really, really crutched playing Misery. Usually you're playing on low power cards anyway, like the Hood, like even White Widow sometimes, even like Black Widow, right? It's a 3/3, but you're giving them another Widow's Bite. It's pretty awesome. I guess they felt differently. Maybe they wanted more people to pick up the card. Maybe not all the people took Misery, but yeah, 4/8, I'll take it. 4/8's a good stat line, man. It's Dr. Octopus stats here, so we're in it. What do you guys think?
Lauren, what do you think about Misery change?
It makes her more flexible, right? It opens up more combos to be real Misery combos. But I agree. I was playing a bunch of her. I did try the Phoenix Force thing, and boy, you can get a lot of retreats that way.
That's a very good deck.
Yeah, it's so funny watching them play the first kiss, and then you kiss them again. They play the second kiss, and then you kiss them a third time, and they're gone. They're so out of there.
Yeah.
It tickled me to no end, even though I'm sure I'd be furious if it were me. I would respond with an R at some point. I'd be like, I see what you did there. Anyway, yeah, I played her in a bunch of different stuff, and she always felt great. But I don't know. I like it. I don't think it's too strong. So maybe it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that. It doesn't seem like it's going to be too strong, especially because that was a Darkhawk deck too, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, they kind of nuked that a little bit. No big deal. What do you think?
It feels a lot like Grandmaster, right? Like this card that we all were so hyped for and thought, oh my gosh, like combo potential on this thing is ridiculous. And now he's a 2-3 when he launched at what, 2-0?
Yeah.
2-1?
Or,
it's like...
Yeah, 2-0.
Like, it's interesting. You think that, like, repeat on reveals are really strong ability, but apparently not as strong? I don't know.
Yeah, the misery stuff's weird. It's felt pretty good at a 4-7 to me. Statistically, I think, like, we're just starting to figure it out. Like, Jet figured out a sweet shell for it. I do think, Misery has been hit really hard by the White Widow change specifically. Like, that's one of the best ones, right? I mean, White Widow might have been literally the best card in the game. And being able to just erase it and give him another kiss is just unbelievable. So that was already a pretty big hit to Misery. And then in this OTA, you look down a little bit of spoilers, you see Rock Slide at the bottom here. That's another one of the best ones. So, they took away two of Misery's best targets in Rock Slide and White Widow. So I guess I get it, and I think it's fine. Little strange, there's a lot of other cards I would buff before Misery, but it's also, it's a little bit of a pay to win. This is a little bit of a pay to win change. Nobody bought the card. They want people to buy the card. Let's be honest. That's what's going on here, right?
The opposite story of Agent Venom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, give it a month or two. Next month, there's gonna be some Agent Venom nerfs. Yeah. Like, we made him a 3/4, by the way. There's only every 2/4 in the game is a negative consequence, or a very targeted like Colleen. But anyways,
yeah.
I think AV should just be like a 2-0. I don't think it's that. It'd be fine. It just put him at a 2-0. Nothing wrong with that. Then he still does his thing. He still pops off. Like, I don't know. I think it'd be fine like that. I don't think they gotta overthink it. Maybe you want to play Bast. Maybe you want to Bast him. Like, who knows,
Yeah, I like that. Excuse to run
just
them
make
both.
It a 2-0. You don't need to be a 2-4. The 2-4 is ridiculous.
Doesn't matter which one you play first. It helps.
Well, yeah, that's part of the, that's like a nerf, right? It's part of the making it a little bit challenging to play.
I definitely would rather play a 2-0 than a 3-4.
Yeah, 3-4 sounds boring, right? Like,
I don't want that.
I don't love that.
Kind of ruins the card.
Yeah, let's get a 2-0. Maybe you Ravona, to discount him something. Who knows?
Yeah, we have at least 6 days because he's still on sale for 6 days. So there's not going to be any changes. 2-4 OP. I think actually the next OTA is like mid-November, isn't it? It's something crazy.
Yeah, we just had like 3 pretty quickly, so yeah.
I think it's in a couple weeks. Yeah. So we got time. But yeah, Misery. I mean, I'll take it. 4-8. Sure, let's go. Wheels up. Electro. So they're giving this card some love because they realize that 3-2 kind of sucks. They're getting rid of all the 3s here. Electro was a 3-2. Now it's a 3-3. I don't know. This seems okay to me. It's 3-2 seemed a little bit weak compared to all the other stuff we could be doing. I'm happy to have Electro as a 3-3. And if I ever get Electro shipped over to me in some of these random decks, I won't be as upset.
One more power.
I like their explanation. It's like almost all Electro decks right now are trying to get rid of Electro, and they're like, well, let's make us that's not the only game plan. I always like it when it increases flexibility.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, and now like I guess it's still because Electro 2 was like a good like Cersei target as well, right? Like you were like pretty happy, like, oh, I'll play Electro, then play Cersei like the next turn. And then you get rid of the Electro, which is nice. It's a 3-2. Now you're getting rid of a 3-3, it's like, all right, But yeah. I don't know. I think it's an okay change. It's like, fine, sure.
I pretty much agree with you, but yeah, I don't think it is going to increase the flexibility, right? It's like a good idea, but it's you really you took Sandman out of the game, and I'm not mad about. I'm not a Sandman player. Like I have brought him up multiple times on this pod for some reason, but I'm not like a Sandman gamer. But like it feels really bad to Sandman yourself. And I think people are still going to be trying to get rid of his effect. Like, if you're playing Electro, you're probably playing Misery. You're probably playing maybe some Cersei. Maybe you play Viper. Like, they're saying, like, we want it to be able to just stand on its own, like an old ramp deck, right? Where you play, Doom, Dr. Doom on 5, Odin on 6, And, we don't have, like, Blob, Arnim, Zola anymore. Like, I don't know, man. It seems a little bit hopium from the balance team here, a little bit of copium with the let's play a traditional ramp deck with Electro. Like, I think all those cards have been just nuked. I don't think you could do that anymore.
Yeah, you might be right. Where it's like doesn't actually help the flexibility. Maybe it's for earlier like players who have smaller collections, right? The still lower series players. There's Remy.
That's a good call.
Yeah, maybe that'll help them. I don't know, because like I don't see like this changing Electro's play rate or decks that Electro's played in at all. I don't know. What do you think,
Yeah.
Nobody?
I
Like
agree.
you said, like it was nice, like with Sandman, right? When Sandman was like, "Oh, you can only play one card per turn." You play Electro, then you play Sandman, and it's like, all right, now you could
Yes.
actually do something, right? You can combat these decks. Those decks would be flourishing right now, feasting on the bounce players. But yeah, that
great
doesn't
with
exist
this 3/3
anymore.
Electro too. That'd be a huge buff to that deck.
Yeah.
Every point of power counts with that deck.
So I guess it's like as far as Electro goes, like what deck would you want to play this card in right now? Like what do I want to do with Electro that I'm playing a 3/3 on turn 3? I don't know. I don't have that answer, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
hey, it's buff the cards that are underused. I'm never gonna get mad at them.
No, and maybe someone will find that answer. Like I'm an idiot. I don't know.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do, because like it is kind of a cool concept, you know. All right, here we go. Rock Slide, 3/3 rock. So Rock Slide. What was Rock Slide back in the day? Was Rock Slide a 2 or was Rock
I
Slide
want
a
to say
4?
originally
It's
4
like
or 5.
a 4/6.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was a 4/6.
No, I think it was 4/5, and then they buffed it to a 4/6. I think.
That sounds.
I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Then they made it a 3/3, and now they just Uno reverse back to a 4/5.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are they just like what do they say? Darkhawks like consistently the highest win rates for a long time, even though they've nerfed Darkhawk and this archetype like I don't know how many times now, probably more than any other archetype, aside from Galactus himself. But they've nerfed the crap out of this deck, and I don't know. I guess like with all these like Misery, Rock Slide, Darkhawk decks, I guess they're just too powerful, too ridiculous, and now with less Hella, I guess you need less disruption. I don't know what they're thinking, but I liked Rock Slide at a 3/3, and it was really nice to play with Misery as like an extra 2 rocks. Maybe that's too oppressive, and maybe I was doing more damage than I thought. But 4/5 doesn't seem nice. It's a better stat line, obviously, but like playing him on 3 was nice. It was a nice curve with like Korg, a 2-drop, and then 3, and then playing him on 4 is like really really tough. I don't know. I don't like this change personally, but maybe it's necessary with too much Darkhawk going around. I don't know.
I'm so confused by the explanation because they're talking about how unpleasant it is to play against, right? Like, oh, you draw rocks less frequently now, and it's like Black Widow feels so much worse to get hit by.
Yeah.
Which is like she's so much more frustrating, especially if your opponent can get her off multiple times. Rock Slide, even if your deck's huge with rocks, at least you have a chance that you're going to draw some things that aren't rocks. I don't know. I think it's weird to change Rock Slide for this reason, but not Black Widow. It also makes me wonder between this and Storm if, like, oh, now that Zabu's good again, I think he was good before, but now that he's good again, maybe they're just more comfortable changing things back to 4.
Yeah, maybe they want more Zabu. That's a good call. And yeah, I mean, like you're absolutely right with the Black Widow. I mean, I don't want them to nerf Black Widow. I don't want to like be talking shit here, but like at least with the rocks, you don't have to play them, and they're 0 power. The Widow's Bite is a -1, and you have to play it. I guess you don't have to, but like you're not drawing if you don't play that card. So it's like
especially on 3, you gotta play it on 3.
Yeah, and there's always sometimes there's sometimes some locations where like the rocks are fine. Like and we get like +2 power here, or like +3 power if there's no abilities on your card. That kind of stuff. So like you can like the rocks sometimes can do something. All 1-drops get +2 power. These locations where you can actually play rocks and get some value out of the crap that you drew if you have extra energy. They're obviously horrible, but they're not always the worst. The Widow's Bite is way worse than a rock. I don't know. Was Darkhawk really that oppressive? I guess he was being pretty good, but like, I don't know. I don't know what more they want to do with these cards. They just don't want people to play Darkhawk, man.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. The Darkhawk stuff, I get why they would nerf it. I mean, I guess it just comes back to the feels bad. They don't want Legion, whatever. You know, they want you to be able to play the game. You know, if you're just drawing rocks, I guess you can't play the game. I mean, I don't know, man. This is a weird change. I think I don't know if Zabu's good, right? Like, it's still this. Zabu's kind of weird. Like, you're really not drawing these 4-drops a lot of the time. Like, you're not always. You don't just start the game with Zabu in your hand. Like, I wish if he was Quicksilver, he'd be cracked, right? But he's not. Like, you know, you don't just start the game with Zabu. Like, that's not how that works. So you normally draw Zabu on 2 or 3 or something. Then, you know, maybe you get 1 or 2 discounts. And like, you know, I say I get a discounted Rock Slide, like. And I got to play it on 4, like it's not great. So you know you have to play it exactly the Zabu, exactly you know on curve draw. You know you have to have the Zabu in the hand. You have to have your Rock Slide in the deck. Then you got to play the Zabu either on turn 1 or 2 before you draw the Rock Slide. Then you have to draw the Rock Slide by turn 3 exactly. You know which is 2 draws. So you have to be in the deck. Then you have to go. You have to go to 2 for 8 or whatever. You know, what are we doing? Like, you know, and I have to start the game with Zabu. So, I mean, Lauren, you're good at math. What's that, like 10%? Like, 8%, 9%, something like that. Like, you know, that I see a 3-cost Rock Slide with Zabu. I think it's just, might be a bad card at a 4/5 now that I really think about it. So this is a very strange change because I don't think Rock Slide was that broken to begin with at a 3/3.
If you think about why Darkhawk's good, though, I think he has good power, but it's that he gets to do his thing and, you know, to get power and cause a ton of disruption.
Yeah.
And so maybe it makes sense to dial it back a little bit, the disruption side of it. He still gets, like, this doesn't change his power as long as you can still get Rock Slide out.
Yeah. Even...
You know,
Go ahead.
Now you play Widow on 3 and Rock Slide on 4, like...
Yeah.
Still pretty good, yeah.
It is still pretty good. And even like Gnome, who was like, you know, winning tournaments and stuff, like he was playing a Darkhawk kind of bounce list and he had no tech and his logic was the tech is the rocks. You know, that is the disruption, that is the tech.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and he was winning with that. So it does make sense. Why don't they just, this maybe is a crazy off-kilter idea, but I'm just going to throw it out there here, you know. Why don't they just buff rocks? Like, why don't they just make rocks 1/1, a 0/1, or 0/0s? So that they're not that bad to draw. So, like, when you draw them, you're not like, shit, this is a 1/0. Like, make it a 1/1, make it a 0/1, make them wasps. Because they're still disruption, but, like, at least they can throw it down with nothing. And you could maybe, you know, they're not, you know. And then what's that stupid location that has 4 rocks into your deck? Subterranea, the worst location?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Collapsed Mine. That's not into your deck.
Collapsed Mine, too, yeah.
You gamble that you're going to win Collapsed Mine with your 4 power.
Yeah. Like, I think maybe it's time to buff rocks, you know? Make them 0/1, make them wasps. And people won't be so mad drawing them.
I've never heard that idea. I think it's a sweet idea. I love it. Let's buff the damn rocks for
it makes no sense thematically.
Yeah.
But I love it mechanically. Like I think that's way more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And then that way they don't have to keep messing around with like changing Rock Slide and Darkhawk every couple months. And then,
Black Widow.
You know.
Black Widow was a 2-cost, right? So, you know, she got nerfed. Like Rock Slide's been nerfed. Darkhawk's been... All these cards have been moved up 1 cost, right? Like, if you think about it, we had 2 costs Black Widow, 4 cost Darkhawk, 4/6 Rock Slide, you know, that you could play Zabu with, you know, the old Zabu, the good one. And, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, buff rocks. I don't think that's gonna break the game. I like that. I'm gonna put in the dev Discord. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Buff rocks. Start a hashtag.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We should just buff rocks.
Buff rocks.
I'm in. All right. This change is the biggest for me, the biggest head scratcher of this whole OTA. Shadow King buff. One of the best tech cards in the game right now. Went from a 2/2 to a 2/3. And I think their logic is like, oh, we want people to be aware of like this card is available to like use. And it's like, we don't buff him. Like, I don't know. They should just put him in the OTA and be like, hey, we're keeping him a 2/2, but hey, this card's good, guys, by the way. You know,
put him in the notes with no change.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget this card exists.
Yeah, or just make like a stupid text change or something, you know, and be like, hey, this card's in the OTA. I don't know. This card at the 2/2 felt great, was a good card. I 2-3. It's awesome. I mean, like Cerebro 3 players rejoice right now. But yeah, I this is completely unnecessary, out of left field, and I don't know, man. This card is very good before, and it's even better now. So I don't know. What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, I agree. It's super weird. They're talking about making him more playable in a wide range of decks. So again, the flexibility thing, and I don't know. I think the same decks that didn't want to play him before still don't, right? Because he hurts the deck itself.
That's okay. The pupper's barking. That's okay.
Yeah, he's distracting.
He doesn't like the Shadow King change.
He's pissed too. No big deal. Why don't you go?
Okay, yeah. I hate this change. Like I hate this. I think this is terrible. This is the classic second dinner. Let's nerf around the bush. You know, people beat around the bush. Like this is like nerf around the bush. You know, like let's nerf Collector instead of Loki. Like what are we doing? They say the word Agent Venom twice in this paragraph. It's time to nerf the fucking Agent Venom card, guys. The broken one, you know. Instead of like a card that's probably a top 10 card in Marvel Snap, Shadow King, as a 2/2. Okay, like let's not buff like one of the best cards in the game. Like what are we doing? This is ridiculous. So I hate this. I think it's ridiculous. I think it already doesn't counter Agent Venom harder. Like it's not gonna increase your win rate against Agent Venom. You either correctly threw priority and played it in the right spot, or you didn't. The 1 power is not going to make a difference. You got to reduce those cards to 0. You have to play the Shadow King at the right time. So if you moved it to 1 cost, it'd be a massive buff. But which would be just absolutely cracked. But like this is dumb. Like don't nerf around the cards. Like 2/2 Shadow King, it was just a nice tech card in a good spot. Once you got it right, why mess with a good thing? It was already great the way it was. Like, Shadow King was played sometimes, the right meta, sometimes not played. Now you got 2/3 Shadow King. What are we doing? It's like we're gonna have like 4/7 Shang-Chi next. Like what is this shit? This is ridiculous.
It's the wrong way to balance,
Yeah.
right? Like I think tech cards are important, and I think said something recently. I think it was Glenn in one of the dev answers in the Discord, where it's like we want players to have the option to counter something that's driving them crazy. And I think yes, do that. Like let the player run the tech if they want to, but balancing around it, like making it so that the entire meta has to run Shadow King to work. Like that's not how you deal with it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. Is there a precedent for them nerfing a card during the same season? Did they do that with Elsa?
Yeah.
The season pass card?
Yeah, Elsa was nerfed immediately, yeah.
She did, right? And she was still the season pass.
Or was it Hope? Was it Hope? One of them was nerfed in the first 2 weeks.
Elsa was nerfed pretty quick, but I don't know if it was the same season.
I think it was within 3 weeks on Elsa.
Hope Summers was
check.
Yeah, Hope Summers was never nerfed. Hope Summers, the data mind was +2 energy.
The data mind.
She never came out like that. That was
yeah.
insanity that she was like, but yeah. She's I think stayed at 3/4 the whole time. But yeah, I don't know if memory serves me. Like Loki never got nerfed the same month, like during the season pass. For some reason, I think Elsa, she was the next season. She was a season pass card.
You're right. She was released October 3rd and nerfed October 26th.
Yeah. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, I mean end of the season, but
it's
October.
From the +3 to a +2. I think it was a 5-week season also.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the only one.
Yeah, so October they want to release broken season pass cards that they should be nerfing. So it seems like their history is repeating itself again. They're not
Gotta get that year end revenue. Gotta pump those numbers.
Exactly. 2.5 Agent Venom.
Missile
Shadow. This is a head scratch to me, but whatever. I mean, what is this? Is there a C3 implications here? I'm not a Cerebral player, but like
yes,
yeah.
C3 gets so much good tech now,
right?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, C3 has all the tech.
And Daredevil,
Killmonger, Shadow King, Daredevil, Valkyrie, and
Grandmaster,
Luke Cage,
Grandmaster 2/3,
Grandmaster now too. Yeah,
you could do like Invisible Woman, then you hide your Valkyrie there, then you put the Grandmaster. So now you're always, and Invisible Woman's a 2/3 by the way. So then it's always going to double Valkyrie. yeah, man, you can do some wild shit with C3. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. All right, Shadow King, very good. Second dinner. Claw. This is another head scratcher for me, man. I got to be honest with you. Claw. They nerfed Claw. Was a 5/4 plus 8 power, and now is a 5/4 plus 7 power. There are some, like, some of the top Agent Venom decks were playing Claw. Like, there were some like really like high level Agent Venom decks that were running Claw. And they had Mystique in there too. Obviously Claw is extremely powerful. I don't know. I thought Claw was in a good place because it was so unplayed and horrible before. And I thought the 12 total power put it in a good place. Sure, at the top end of the meta, maybe it was like strong in the Agent Venom deck, which they should be, as No Big Deal said, nerfing Agent Venom. But they nerfed it, so I don't like this change at all. Again, I never thought Claw was oppressive when it's played against me. I was never like, oh man, they played Claw, that was horrible. I was like, whatever, man. I don't know. This is I don't know why they did this. I think this is silly.
All right, I'll jump in here, Lauren. I agree, man. I hate this change, and I hate the Shadow King change too. I don't know what they're doing. This is where I'm like, man, Glenn must be on vacation or something based on the last OTA and this one. I think the issue, and we've talked about 5 drops a lot, kid, on this pod. I don't know why they keep coming up. They keep getting touched, like Sandman, Legion, all these guys. They keep getting touched up. But I think that it's a lot to commit 5 cost, 5 energy to play something is a lot, and I think it's just not reflected in like half of the 5 drops in the game. So cards like White Tiger, cards like Adam Warlock, Professor X. Even I'll say it, Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur. How about that card? Like, when was the last time you saw one of those? Spider-Man 2099, Gamora, Arrow, Red Skull. They're so underwhelming, and I don't think the solution is to nerf Claw to Devil Dino level. I think the solution is let's bring the other 5 drops up to where they're playable, because the card has to have such a crazy impactful effect, like a Legion, like a Iron Man who doubles your whole lane. Like, you have to have, Blink can do some crazy shit. MODOK's crazy. Like, like Spider-Woman. Like, what I've tried so much to play the card Spider-Woman. It's really hard to play this card Spider-Woman. Like, Gilgamesh is great. Like, Gilgamesh is a good one, but like basically half these 5 drops are like not playable, and I think that's the main issue. Like, Nomora's good. Like, that's one of the good ones. She could be a 5/16. Like, Claw, I think Claw at 5/4 plus 8 power was awesome. Like, that was just, it was never like, this is way too broken. These Claw decks, they're taking over the meta. Tier 0 Claw 5/8, like, hide your kids, hide your wife. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, 5/4 Claw. Like, it was never like that. It was just a good card, and I think they should aim to get more cards at the 5/4 plus 8 Claw. It was fun, good card. Now it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's even going to be playable now. We'll see.
Yeah, this seems like a really important point of power to lose. I love what you're saying about 5 costs, because I think they're trying to scale power to energy in just like a mathematical way, where it's like, this much energy should be worth this much power, but you have to consider the flexibility, right? Like, 1 cost and 2 costs have so much power because of their flexibility, especially like the really like the high utility ones, like a Nico Minoru, where it's like she can be useful on any of the 6 turns of the game. And it's like a 5 cost. It's not just that it costs you 5 energy, it's that you can only play it on 2 turns of the game. So yeah, it has to have a big impact if you're throwing away an entire turn of the game. Like, you don't get it like benefit. You don't get multiple turns of benefiting from it as like a setup card. Like, Sarah is a good example of a 5 cost setup card, or Jane Foster, I think, where it's like they have a really big impact, so you can justify throwing away your entire turn 5 on setup.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it's like it's crazy. And then the 5s, even like Spider-Man 2099, even Jane Foster's underwhelming. Annihilus they nerfed, and you don't really see him much anymore.
Like, I like what they did with Black Panther. Like, I think Black Panther change was pretty cool. Like,
yeah, that was great.
At least it gives you a chance to play around with this Black Panther card, even if it is still easily counterable. It's like, you don't have to get the giga crazy nut combo with the Black Panther now, you
Yeah.
just buff them up a little bit, play them once, and like that's actually really good now, so yeah.
And maybe I'm mistaken here, so correct me if I'm wrong. Is Claw like played? Is he like played in any other decks other than the high top level Agent Venom decks? Like, is there other decks where like he's like a staple basically?
It was a staple in the Agatha
Spectrum.
deck. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren, what were you saying?
I said Spectrum, but like Spectrum's not like a huge meta presence.
No. Spectrum's
It's
not
playable
a deck where...
now, but it's not like defining the meta.
Yeah, you're not nerfing Claw because of Spectrum though, right? Like I don't think there's any other like it seems like the problem is Agent Venom, and they're just like, this is a nerf around the bush.
And their description, they say it's for the newer players that they're making this change.
Oh, is that because everyone's just playing Broken Claw, like just 5/12?
Claw's a Series 1 card, so I guess he's too strong for early players.
Well, that's what...
Apparently.
Yeah, like that's what No Big Deal's saying. Like,
yes.
Make the other 5-drops better. Don't make Claw worse, because 5-drops used to be in such a good spot where like they used to be like extremely powerful, and they were like, there was a time where we just got rid of all 6-drops and we were just playing 5-drops instead, right? In most of these decks, because like
old
they used to be a lot
old
more
Arrow
powerful.
days. Yeah.
And like we're like, oh, why do we play 6-drops? These 5-drops are cracked, and like they've been changed and stuff in such a way that it's like, I don't know, you play them here and there. Like there's a few that are great, no question, but like, yeah, I think they should just work on making them a little bit better so that we can play them more. Like, yeah, Devil Dino is not a card that is ever played anymore. Like there's no one playing Devil Dino. There are some Ronin decks running around, but not much. Black Panther was great. Sarah's always been there. Ajax is okay, but they gotta. I think they gotta make some of these a little bit better. I think you're absolutely right. Rather than nerf Claw, poor guy.
And not to shit on him. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lauren.
No, I'm gonna steer somewhere else for a second. So
okay. I'll just say my last thought. Like, not to shit on them too much. They have been doing that to some of these cards. Like, I like the Ronin buff. Like, even he did see some play on the buff. Again, they hit Black Panther. Like, buffed them up. They're trying to make Arrow a real card. They're trying, right? Gilgamesh got buffed immediately. Like he 5/7. Oh, that's another one probably changed in the same season, but not a nerf, right? 5/7 Gilgamesh to a 5/9. Season pass card, right? That got changed in the same season, right? I think.
Yeah. There've been a couple of count buffs too.
Oh, the buffs, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, of course I'm not counting the buffs because of course they're gonna buff them in the same month. They get
Yeah.
If they're not selling enough.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so they have been doing it. They're trying to get Cersei right. Like they've dicked around with Stature, Black Bolt, and Cannonball. So a lot of the cards they are trying to do it right. But I think that's the approach. Like I don't think Claw was broken at all. Like just because it's a great card in Agatha. Like and obviously the Agent Venom deck's broken. Agent Venom doesn't even buff Claw. Like that's my issue. Like it already 4 power card. Fuck man, it's ridiculous. It's a 4 power card. How about Iron Man? How about we hit Iron Man instead?
Leave Iron Man.
No, I like Iron Man too, but yeah.
Move one of his power into him, so he's a 5/5 +7.
There you go.
And then Agent Venom does hit him.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Actually, yeah, that'd be way better change, Lauren. That's smart. Because it's still technically a nerf overall to the card.
Yeah, I would think so. Definitely his reach is why you play him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Lauren?
Interaction with Onslaught. I'm just wondering. Okay, you make all the 5s stronger. I'm on board with this. I think it's probably the right thing to do. Then you have to make all the 6s stronger too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's room for that. Like, there's a lot of 6s that we just I don't know. I think a lot of 6s don't get played unless they are like, the point of the deck. Say a Hela or whatever.
Yeah, Giganto sucks. I don't even know why they say they got to make that card a 5-drop. I think make him like a 5/12. Like he can only be played in the left lane. Like it's still like he's never played as a 6/14. Why would you play that card? You got Red Hulk. You have all these other cards that you can play instead. Like I think they should because a lot of these like low cost cards are just like busted. Like there's a lot of like 1-drops, 2-drops that are just like really good. 3-drops now, like 3/5's the new meta for printing cards. Like Copycat's an insane card. Like there's all these cards that are really good. I'm for them, just whatever, just power creeping the shit out of everything. Like they're already doing it slowly, so just make it all fair and buff Kang while you're at it. That guy's a 5-0. Do something with that card, please.
Well, I mean, Lauren, I think you make a great point, and that's why, like, I come on these podcasts and I'm always like ranting and tilting about these freaking OTA changes because, like, it's like, okay, we buffed Spider-Ham. Okay, we nerfed Spider-Ham. Okay, now we buffed Spider-Ham, and it's like, all right, we changed Beast, then we changed Beast, and then we changed Beast, and it's like, there are so many cards in the game that need buffs. And, we do these tier lists, and it's like, oh, these 6 cards are all dog shit. Imagine if they actually, like, buffed 4 shitty cards every single OTA. That's 12 cards in a month. Like, you could easily, like, sweep across all these bad... I don't care if they're Series 1. Let the new players play with good cards, okay? Let the new players who just got the game have fun and put out a lot of power and play with good cards. What a crazy idea. Like, what are we doing? Like, so I think... they should not be, doing these weird side grades. This rock slide change it's just a waste. It's just a waste of a slot. Why are we moving rock slide to a 4/5? Go buff something that sucks or nerf something like Agent Venom that's actually good. Like, I don't know. They spend half these OTAs sometimes just wasting their time and just, I don't know. It's like, so that's why I get tilted about this stuff. So yeah, I agree with you. There's some sick, like, Emperor Hulkling just got 1 power. Like, why are they giving Emperor Hulkling 1 power? Like, what a waste of time. Like, give him at least 13, at least, Vanilla Hulk's 12. Can we get 13 on Hulkling? Like, come on, man.
Right.
It's true, yeah. You got these cards, even the ones they changed, like Adam Warlock's, like, not played, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. And then, like... Then, like, Shadow King, one of the best cards in the game. There's buff.
What are we doing? We don't need to do this.
A buff for awareness.
He's already in the game. We know he's in the game. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah, they do got to get some of these six costs up, too. I agree with you.
Now, here's a good change. Here's a good one. Here's one of the buffs we're talking about. Daredevil was a 2/2. Now they buffed him to a 2/3. We kind of talked about it a little bit when we were going over decks. I think this is a great change. This is one of the cards. It's a really cool card. One of the coolest abilities and one of the most unique abilities in the entire game. Criminally underplayed. And now he gets a little bit of power because, there's this power creep going on in this game. And he deserves it because, I love playing Daredevil decks. It's so fun seeing what people are doing on turn 5. And yeah, it's a really cool card. And I'm happy they gave him some love. So this, I think, is a good one here.
Warren, what do you think about the Daredevil?
Yeah, I'm a fan. I've liked Daredevil before, but it's nice that you can play him in some. Like I was saying before, you don't need a turn 5. Like, you don't need a card built around Daredevil in order to make Daredevil useful.
Yeah.
Right? Lets you know about priority. Lets you just plan around what your opponent is doing. And this does make him a lot easier to splash into a deck. Like, it's a big change going from 2 power to 3 power at this cost. I think it's great. I don't think it's...
That's okay.
He's such a punk.
He thinks it's great, too.
I agree with their text that I don't think it's going to make him play so much more that games are going to slow down.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, and I agree. I think this is a great change. I mean, I'm just echoing what you guys are saying. Well, Lauren goes and calms her dog down a little bit. He's a good boy, though. He likes the Daredevil change. He's excited about it. I think this is a great change. I think it's weird. It's like there's this fine line where it's like 2/2 feels like a total liability, and 2/3 is like, it doesn't feel good, but it feels fine to have a 2/3 on the board. And then 2/4 feels like it's all like above rate, But like you kind of see it with the card Kate Bishop. I think is a really good example. Like, you play the Kate Bishop down, she's a 2/3. It's like fine. I think if you nerf Kate Bishop to a 2/2, she feels a lot worse. Like, just because you have that 2/2 sitting there like clogging your board, So I like that, and Daredevil was like that, and any other 2/2 in the game, like old White Widow, for example, like you have to have some really, really powerful effect to actually justify playing the 2/2, and like obviously old White Widow had that, and so it's nice that they, Daredevil's just it wasn't, they've taken away his old Spider-Man, they've taken away old Professor X, so let's give the Daredevil some love, and love to see it.
Yeah, it's good. There's so many good 2-drops in the game too. It's just hard to include this card at a 2/2.
Yeah,
especially
like Angel,
when you have
Angel's crack, 2/3.
Yeah. Yeah, Angel's a good crack 2/3. Agent Venom though 2/4 though, but Angel we got to keep him at 2/3. But yeah, like Kate Bishop and Jeff were both 2/3. So why would you play Daredevil in your deck when you can just splash those cards in and they're just better, This I hope we see more Daredevil decks with this because it's a really cool card. All right, next change, last change.
I've been calling for this one, kid.
Not the change I thought, but it's a cool change. Typhoid Mary, finally they buffed this card. This card's been horrible for so long. Was ongoing 4/10. Your other cards have -1 power. Now it's ongoing. Your other cards here have -1 power, so it doesn't affect the entire game board. Just affects your one location that the Typhoid Mary's in. I think this is a really cool buff. I'm happy they did this. I wanted them just to give her a ton more power, like make her a 4/12 or something like that, or 4/13 with her old ability. I thought that would have been a cool thing to do too, just because she sucks so much before. But this is really cool. This is a lot more elegant, I think. She retains the 4/10, and and she still has some, some of her flair. She afflicts the other cards in her zone. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is a cool change. I like it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, depending on how many cards you have on the board, this is a lot bigger than a 4/12, right? Like the relative change. She's only hitting 3 cards now instead of 11 on a full board. I think it's awesome. I think she might just be a good card now. Like a lot of we have a bunch of 4/10s, like 4/10 with downside, and this seems like one of the easiest ones to get to the board, right? Like you can play her in any location. She doesn't have that restriction like Crossbones and spacing Atuma. Nope, the other one, Cold Obsidian.
Cold Obsidian. Sorry.
Those two. Atuma kind of has a restriction like that too, where you have to be really careful about what you play with him.
Yeah.
And she her downside of playing her next to another card is -1 power. It's a lot smaller than being destroyed.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think she's just good now.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm a little more pessimistic about this change than you guys. This was not the Typhoid Mary change I wanted, and I don't know, man. I think they're doing her dirty, man. I think she's getting done a little bit dirty. Like Typhoid Mary has always just been on the fringe, barely playable. Like you kind of had Sauron carrying her a little bit before. Like she was great in the old Sauron decks, but that's because the old Sauron decks were cracked, and. The 4/10 Typhoid Mary was just like a nice on-curve play in those decks, but wasn't adding that much to the deck. I don't love this change. I actually wish they put her to 12 power. I just wanted a 12 power Typhoid Mary. Lauren, you do make a good point where it's like, yeah, you can actually just play this one, and the other ones you can't really play. Like Atuma, you got to play in like an empty lane, or you have to be a destroy deck. You can't just play your Atuma in any lane, right? Or you got to have a ninja in the lane or something. And then, Black Cat discards herself. Yeah, Crossbones, Call Obsidian, of course, they're all restrictive. But still, I think 4/10, 4/7 downside just doesn't feel like a compelling card to me. I love what they did with Atuma because gave him an identity. I love what they did with Crossbones, actually. It's like 4/10 feels like you could actually play it. We got the War Machine in the game too. Call Obsidian's always been good. So I don't know, man. I'm not optimistic about this card. I don't think it's going to be really playable. You got a bit of a quote unquote Ajax nerf here. I don't have Ajax, so I don't know. Let the Ajax players talk about that. But it does slightly I don't think you're playing it with Ajax anyway. But I can't see a scenario where I'm putting Typhoid Mary in my deck. It would have to be like I'm playing exactly Big Dumb Idiots with Scar.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I don't know, man. I feel like that's not how I like to even build that deck personally.
I like how the Big Dumb Idiots deck has another option though. I like how this Scar list, because there are a few floating around. Shout out to Gunny T. Mm-hmm. Just popularizing that deck's great, creating it. But yeah, I like Scar as a card. I love when energy's cheated all the time. I love that so much. So getting a 2 cost Scar a lot easier now is great. Especially if you play a deck with like the hood and stuff. Like you're not mad if Atuma destroys the hood. You can play armor in that deck as well. You're playing Cosmo in that deck, so you're not mad if the Typhoid like makes your armor a 3/2 instead of a 3/3. You're still getting 2 power or 2 energy reduced off your Scar, and you could do some like pretty wild stuff. You throw Zabo in this list. If you have like Crossbones, Call Obsidian. Zabo's a 1-drop now, so it works with Call Obsidian. You can throw in these big boys and girls now. Like you have Atuma, Crossbones, Call Obsidian, Typhoid Mary. You can play Arrow as a 5/10. And then your Scar can be 0. So, or at least it's a lot easier to get it to 2 energy, and then you could play a 2 energy with like a Crossbones on the
alongside a 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of. It might be interesting to see this archetype now with Typhoid Mare, and you're not, as long as you're getting the energy reduction on Scar, I don't think you're that mad about losing a couple power in the lane. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good trade-off to have an extra option to reduce Scar in these lists. Now, are these lists going to be awesome? I don't know, maybe not, but I think it's cool that they're doing it. That's my take anyway.
It's fair.
I'm with you that like. I'm with you, no big deal, that it's not nearly as interesting as Atuma. Like, Atuma opens up, like, new deck-building opportunities, and this isn't really the same as, like, it's a new ability that does something interesting, a new interaction. It's more like her existing interaction isn't as bad. It's still cool, still makes her more playable, but not nearly as intriguing or appealing.
Yeah.
I'm not rushing out to make Typhoid Mary decks the same way that I thought Atuma was like, oh, I could do something different with this.
Yeah. I mean, just to give context of my disappointment, it's more like I've been lobbying for a Typhoid Mary buff for a while. Not that I'm just like Typhoid Mary like enthusiast. I'm not playing a bunch of Typhoid Mary decks, but it's just always seemed like a really obvious card to buff. Kind of like what you're talking about with the 6 drops, right? Where there's so many bad ones, you could just buff them. But like, I would love to see 12 power. I would at least love them to start like, let's put her at 12 power and see what happens. I like the 0 interaction. I like the Enchantress 0 stuff. That seems that stuff's always been kind of fun to me. So, would she be busted at a 12 power that minuses your entire board? Like, I don't think so. So, and maybe still, but it doesn't really work with Scar. So that's a different deck, right? Because if you're trying to play something else, then it reduces it to 9, and now your Scar doesn't get discounted. So now it's like, all right, this is the Scar card, and I just never looked at Typhoid Mary as a Scar, as a big dumb idiot's like Scar card, or scarred, I guess,
Well, you can't play her because she makes the other ones 9, so it doesn't reduce Scar. You can never
which
do
is
that.
why she's never been that, right? But
so
now she is. But yeah, to me, it's like, I think there's other opportunities to get other Scards in the game. I don't think Typhoid Mary had to be one, but now she is. So hey, maybe we'll see. We'll see if Gunny cooks something up.
Yeah, and this is not going to bring Sauron back, unfortunately. Poor Sauron has been suffering, tremendously. It would have been cool if Atuma wasn't ongoing. If they made that ability ongoing, then maybe you could bring Sauron. Maybe that adds some intriguing stuff to the Sauron decks. But I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass at this point.
Yeah, the Shuri nerf was devastating for that. That was the end of that deck. Once they did Shuri, where you can't play it in a different location, as a GG.
I like how they're doing something with Typhoid. So let's see what happens here. I guess there might be something that comes out of it, but the Agent Venom stuff's just too powerful right now that I don't think these Scar decks are going to be anything crazy.
Well, you play Cosmo, right? So maybe do, I don't know, Cosmo Shadow King. You already have 10 power, so you could do Cosmo and Shadow King both. I don't know. Maybe that works.
Yeah, I don't know.
You put a bunch of big idiots on your Cosmo lane, and then you Shadow King another lane.
Good, 2-3.
You probably don't even need to play armor now. Like, nobody's playing Shang-Chi. You don't even have to play armor. Like, you just go Shadow King, Cosmo, bunch of big dumb idiots. I actually might be onto something there. I think Regis was playing something like that recently, actually.
Could do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on from the OTA, which is a head scratcher. I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. We're stuck with this for another couple weeks. I think the next OTA is like November 11th or 15th or something. It's not for a while. So we'll see what these changes, if they do anything. And then if they hotfix Agent Venom, November 1st, we'll see if that happens.
That's not happening.
No chance.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so I mean, before we close out here, I really want to, have a maybe small discussion. Since we have Lauren here, we gotta talk a little bit about economy. You are the head mathematician, the head statistician in the Marvel Snap community, and we appreciate it. It's great, reading your articles, all the charts you make, and they're beautifully colored all the time as well. They're awesome. We appreciate it. We pull them up here, frequently. To get stats and stuff, but I know specifically, no big deal. A few months ago, we were having a conversation, and I didn't have like a good answer for him a couple months ago, but he was just actually no big deal. Go ahead, explain what you were talking about.
Yeah, we discussed a little bit before the pod, but yeah, obviously for the people, you guys, if you were here a few months ago, I was saying like, a lot of people, especially at the beginning of the Spotlight Cash system. So now we're kind of, we've been in this loop for a while, but for the first kind of month of the Spotlight Cash system, there was a lot of like discourse on Twitter and stuff where people were saying like, oh, it's so much better. Just mathematically, the Spotlight Cash system's so much better. You get all these cards for keys. You don't actually need that much to get a Spotlight key. You get thousands, a few thousand credits. You get a key like 4,000 or 5,000 credits, whatever, for a key. You get these Series 5 cards in the old system. They were just, the math came out to it being more expensive to get the Series 5 cards in the old system. And so a lot of people were kind of having this discourse on Twitter. Kid, you were saying the same thing, right? You were kind of telling me that, Kid. You were saying like, oh, like it is. It's just the Spotlight Cash system is just simply better and mathematically. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It just, obviously I haven't done the math. Lauren has actually done the math, but I did not do the math at the time. This was a while ago too. And I'm saying, man, I just feel bad. I feel it doesn't feel good. I feel like I'm getting duped. They pick what's in the cash, so I don't even get to pick my own cards. So whatever bullshit they want to put in there, they'll get the best card of the month will be with a bunch of shit cards that nobody wants. So all the broken cards are in shitty caches, and I want agency over my own. I want to control my own destiny, if possible. I mean, in the end of the day, we do the best we can on Earth here, with our destiny. We don't have control over everything, but for the game that I'm playing, when I'm investing money into a game, like, I would like to, feel good about my purchases, and I like getting 400 collector's tokens, 600 collector's tokens, 200 collector's tokens in my collection track. I feel like I actually was excited to go and open the collector's track, get my tokens, go to the token shop, buy a Series 4 card for 3K. Felt pretty good. Wait for the 6K cards to drop down to 3K. I'll get that one in 3 months. I'll plan my shit out. I don't have to spend too much money. I'm just buying the season pass, playing the game, having fun. And I feel like the Spotlight Cash system has sucked that away from me, and it just doesn't feel quite as good. So, Lauren, am I crazy for feeling like this, or is there some math behind it? What do you think, Lauren?
I mean, first off, the feelings are real, regardless of what the math says. Like. Yes. Even in the times when the math did say that the Spotlight system was better, and I have to own that, like I was a strong proponent, like it's here, the Spotlight system, they say it's going to give more players more cards, and it is. It's going to give everybody more cards. It makes it way cheaper to have a full collection, etc. That's changed. So the math agrees with you now that it is worse, depending on some things I can get into in a second. But your feelings are real. Like, I'm gonna validate those. We're getting philosophical.
Feelings are valid. You're saying.
It's been
regardless.
It's been interesting seeing. Like, I mean, Steven has explicitly acknowledged that like lead of product at Second Dinner or whatever his position is. He's head of the economy, kind of. And he's acknowledged it's like a cursed D4. Like, it feels bad to play with. Like, even when it's working better, it feels bad. And that's just like, it's a failure of a system that it has been both more generous and feels worse. Like, it's just like, it's the worst possible combination.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the reason why they've been so quiet about card acquisition updates, because they're coming. They've been hinted at. They were on the previous roadmap. But I think they just they want to nail it the next time they do it. And I hope they do. I don't know if I'm confident in it, but I really hope they do. Anyway, there have been changes that have made it so that the Spotlight system is worse now, percentage-wise. Yeah. Like, how much of Series 4 and 5 cards do you own percentage-wise has gone down. And that's because there's a new card every month. Like, they're releasing 2 on the first week of the month.
Yeah.
Right?
With 5 now instead of 4. Yeah, like it used to be. Yeah.
No more cards going direct to Series 4, which makes like tokens half the value.
Yeah.
And then series drops are just like kind of non-existent. And so that combination of things has made it so that you have to miss more cards percentage-wise. And I think percentage-wise is what you feel. I don't think it's that you feel, oh, I have so many more cards now, but you also are missing more cards now. Mm-hmm. And I think that the missing cards are the ones that impact you the most, because they're the ones that when you see a cool deck online and you can't build it, that's what you remember.
The FOMO, yeah, the FOMO's strong. Yeah. Strong emotion, the FOMO. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is like first world problems too, but I feel like I think the system is like, if you're just starting, like I think it's just objectively like better, right? Like every spotlight cache you can get 3 new cards, right? Like
like basically every key gives you a card.
It's awesome, yeah, right? And then like once you get to the point where like you're almost collection complete, it's like I think like the Nomura week, was that last week or the week before, was like the first week in like months where I got 2 new cards. Mm-hmm. Like I can't remember the last time that happened. It was last year sometime. Whereas like that just doesn't happen anymore. It's just like, I'm skipping weeks, and then like I think it would be a lot better if they would be on like a regular cadence, like
even if it's 6 months, I'm happy with 6 months even. Yeah.
Like the October cards will be in spotlight caches.
Yes.
3 months from now or 4 months from now, whatever they want to do.
I would love that. Yeah.
Just a plan, not this random like null every week or X23.
I agree with that, but I think that also brings back the problem from before, which No Big Deal was highlighting as a feature. It was like, oh, I know this card's going to drop to Series 4 in a few months. Like, I'm just going to skip it because I can wait a few months for it to be half price. And it's like, I think that was one of their motives of switching to Spotlights, is like, everybody was like, I can wait 5 months for this to be free. And I think it was just killing, like, people weren't buying Series 5 cards except for the people who could afford every single one.
Yeah. Do you think it would be worse if they just like didn't drop their series, but like put them in a spotlight cache like 3 or 4 months from when they're released, and like were like consistent about that? Or is there too many Series 5 cards for that to even happen? Really, like, can they even do that?
Oh, you could do it. You could reserve, like, one slot is the new card, the second slot is the card from 2 months ago, and then the third slot is whatever they want to do. Maybe it's the card from 6 months ago or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool. Go ahead. Sorry. I was going to say, that would feel a lot less bad if you're skipping a week. Be like, all right, in 4 months or whatever the number is that makes sense for them. Because obviously they got to make money too. They can't have people like, if it's 4 or 5 months, like, all right, in 4 or 5 months, I know that I will have a spotlight cache that is going to have, if I spend 4 keys, I'm going to get 2 cards. And I won't feel like I spent 4 keys and got like Nomura, or whatever it is, not Nomura, but some card that you don't want.
And I think the fourth prize in the spotlight is also very worth highlighting, right? It's random with 2/3 weighting towards Series 4, and Series 4 is just like, I don't know. They control the series drops very carefully now, right? It's not based on age; it's based on desirability.
Yes.
And so
Jeff's not going down.
Yeah. And I still have not gotten a new card from that slot, and I'm missing like 8 cards. I've never rolled a new card from that, and it's just like it's terrible. I've spent so many keys and never once. Like, there has to be some kind of pity timer on that or something.
I'm about same as you, Lauren. I'm missing about 7 cards, but I got 1. I did get 1 from that, so it is possible.
I hear it's possible. Yeah.
Actually, no. I was gonna say I didn't get 1, but I did. I got War Machine. I skipped War Machine, and then I got him like a week or 2 later as the random one. It's just like luck, And it is huge luck because it's weighted 2/3 towards Series 4 versus Series 5. And there's so many more Series 5 cards than there are Series 4 cards. So for you to get that one Series 5 card that you're missing is like 33% chance roll to get the Series 5 on that. And then whatever one in every Series 5 card there is. Was it 60 or something crazy? To get that one card, it's like, it's insane odds, man. So it's like, it's kind of crazy. Like, if it was like consistent and people could plan, I don't know if that would lose them a lot of money. I have no idea. But it would be nice for us. because like I feel like the spotlights did make sense. I know like the math before, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was like it was good up until a certain point when Series 5 got to a certain like bloat level where it was like, I don't know, 50 cards or something like that, 52 cards, where it was like now it's worse than the old system.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we're past that now, right? So now objectively it's worse.
We are past that, but then they also added the extra card every month.
Yeah, that's true.
And so like that combination of things makes it so that the raw number of cards you're getting now is higher, even if you're free to play. It's higher than it was before. But also the raw number you're missing is going
higher. That makes sense. Yeah.
And like I ran a poll on Twitter once and I was like, would you be okay with getting more cards if it meant that you were missing more cards? And it was split almost 50-50, where it's like some people care more about, I want as many game pieces as possible, and other people, me, care, I want to be missing as few as possible.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'll be missing as few because we have so many cards anyway. There's like so many cards don't even get played. We have OTAs. Like I just shit on these OTAs for an hour, but they are great. Like they bring cards like, oh, now I get to go play Daredevil. Like that's pretty sweet. Like we do already have like a lot of awesome cards in the game. The card design is sick in Marvel Snap. I mean, that's what keeps me coming back every time. So like I'm happy with the amount of cards I have already. So I'm with you. I want to be missing the least amount, because if you're missing the card that is that broken meta card that you need, like when I don't have Nocturne. When Nocturne was a 3/5, like that didn't feel great, So
and you either had to wait 5 months for her to show up again, or blow 6,000 keys while checking in every 8 hours waiting for her to show up. Like it's just, the agency is bad, the time delay is bad. I think it's a really hard problem to solve. Like I see people be like, oh, they just need to do a lot more series drops, and it's like, but Series 3 is already 109 cards. Like that gets worse and worse for players who aren't almost Series 3 complete.
Yeah.
Like my brother just started like a month ago.
Oh, wow.
And he hasn't even started collecting Series 3 yet. I think he's almost at that point. He's like 450 CL, something like that.
Yeah, you're like, just wait.
It's coming out of the abyss.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, really? You could draw Howard before you get, a Mystique, a Wong, a Venom, some critical piece.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot of agency there. I mean, you do get your one free Series 3 card a month. I'm just like, the bigger they let that get, the worse it gets. But also the bigger Series 4 is, and the bigger Series 5 is, like, it makes them all bad. And it's like, they need... I have no idea what it looks like, but they need a place to throw cards that, like, it's okay that this just swells indefinitely.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if they just let players, like, pay 1,000 tokens or whatever it is to, like, just pick a Series 3 card. Anyone you want. Just pick them,
Yep, I fully agree.
So, and then that's, like, for, like, those people. But, like, for people that are near collection complete, it would be nice to have some agency. Like knowing that these October cards are going to be available in March in the spotlight caches, right? Like, or whatever the timeline is. Like that would be nice instead of just like completely random. We have no idea what's going on. It's going to be another null variant that we're never going to need again. And it's like, it would be nice knowing, keeping that like third slot as an extra, like, whatever. And a pity timer would be good as well, right? Like some sort of pity timer,
There has to be some kind of dupe protection or increased player agency, or like just something to make it feel better. One of my favorite fixes, I don't think they'll do it, but one of my favorite fixes is to add a pin slot to the spotlight. So if I pin something this week, then next week there are 5 cards in the spotlight. So like my odds are worse, but also I could spend 5 keys to get the new card from this week and last week.
I like it. How would you control in that scenario because I love that idea. So on the next spotlight, it's going to be, so does the pin slot take up the random 1,000 token thing? You may as well just make it, no? Because they probably
I think it's a 5th slot, because that makes it, that like helps make it so that it's not improving your average too much on how many.
Oh, and then you got to roll 5. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
You still got to roll 5. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, something like that sounds great.
Something else I really like about the pinned card, and I've seen other great ideas, but this is why this is my pet one, is I think about the casual player too, who is spending every key as soon as they get it. If they could pin a card, they could just keep throwing keys at it until they get it. Maybe it's going to take them 4 weeks until they get that lucky roll, but like they could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that feels better. To your point, that feels better to play. It's like, oh, finally, I got it. Okay, this is the month. We're doing. Like
you get a little bit more control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can also go with they can go with like the once a month theme too. Like you could pin a card once a month, just like you get a free Series 3 card once a month. Once a month, you could pin a card, and then that can be in your Spotlight Cash.
Yeah, and then next month you have to pick something else. Like you have to pick something from that month the next time. Yeah.
Really, you just pick anything. You just pick any Series 5 card you could pin, and that goes in that you don't have. That goes in the Spotlight Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
that. Once per month, you can do that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's once per month is a good way to balance. Like, don't make it too good. Don't give the players too much.
Yeah.
But also, like, give them some choice. Like. Yeah, that would be a good way to make like keys more exciting, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna go for this card, Proxima Midnight, that I've missed the last 2 times. I'm gonna just throw her into my November caches, and November spotlights. It would make November more exciting for me, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I love those ideas, because those ideas are like, those are good, like, productive ideas, I think, because I know a lot of people give an idea and it's like, hey, just give everything away for free, and it's like, obviously they don't want to do that. The ideas you guys are saying are, you still have to spend the same amount of resources. Like, even if you pin a card, you still have to spend the extra key to get it. So we're not spending less resources. It's just more agency. It feels better. Maybe, we manage our economy a bit better. We spend a little bit less. But that's like just a really feels good idea. And the kid, you two, obviously, I mean, we've been saying that people need to be able to pick Series 3. It's way too many Series 3 cards. I think there is going to be another series drop. They've been doing them every 6 months lately. So it's like December, January, I'm expecting another one personally. It's going to be even more Series 3
I think they announced it.
Yeah. Oh, they did announce it?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to be more, it's going to go up to 106 now, in Series 3. So that's an absolute abyss for your brother. Lauren's going to get swallowed by that abyss. And that's going to be brutal. So like, I'm not excited for him. But I hopefully he keeps playing, because it is a great game. But stuff like this I think is great. And I would just say to Second Dinner, like, look, Amazon and Costco are like trillion-dollar companies, okay? They make all of their money on subscriptions. Okay, Marvel Snap is a subscription game. Everybody's buying the season pass. Not everybody. 80% of players are buying the season pass. I had Jay Kelly on here, about a month ago. He actually is full free to play. He doesn't buy a season pass at all. So there are people out there like that. Most people buy the season pass, or at least the ones they like. And let's not get greedy here. Like, what are we doing? Like, if people want to whale out on cosmetics, that's great. I think that's great. That's a great way to just encourage the whales to whale, give the whales something to whale over. But with the card acquisition, I mean, don't get so greedy with the card acquisition where it's this freaking loot box horseshit. Like, where we got the Spotlight Cash now, and who knows when Nocturne's coming around and it's going to be null 5 times again. Like, this is loot box horseshit. This isn't Fortnite, we're not like 12 years old. Like,
yeah.
we all see what you're doing and we don't like it. Like, you're gonna encourage 12-year-olds to gamble. Like, it's a bad idea to begin with. There's a lot of moral issues to begin with. Let's not do that with Marvel Snap. Make the season pass great. I'll happily buy it every month. Everybody's paying you $120 a year on your game. That's way more than any AAA game. $80 a AAA game. So why are we getting greedy? The normal person plays your game for 2 years, only buys the season pass. We're talking about $240. That's 3 AAA games. Relax. Amazon is the richest company on earth. Costco is extremely successful. These are subscription businesses. That's all their money's made on that. They give returns for free. You get something from Amazon. You don't like it. You just get it. You just give it back. They give you a full refund. They don't give a shit. They'll lose money on that. Because you're paying the subscription, and they're happy you're paying the subscription. Second Dinner, please be happy that we're paying your subscription. That's all I say. That's all I gotta say.
I think that's great. I'm so I'm so fascinated by the idea of really how many players are spending extra just for card acquisition, right? Like, almost all of your big spenders, they're spending for cosmetics.
Yeah, cosmetics.
It's enough for them to just get every card along the way. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, how many players are hitting that sweet spot where it's like, I'm collecting every single card on release, but I'm not spending extra on cosmetics. Like, are cards really what's driving revenue? They might be, but I doubt it. Like, it hasn't motivated me to buy extra resources, because the amount of ramp between like a season pass for $10 and another card for $50? Is it just way too much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's crazy. You're absolutely right. And maybe that's why, like, maybe they will make card acquisition a little better. Maybe that's why they announced that they're going to make the premium season pass more enticing with more variants and resources and stuff. Because maybe they get people to spend $15 a month. Then maybe they can dial back some of the other bullshit that they're doing with like the spotlights because everything's getting so bloated. Maybe that's part of the answer. Maybe they're just going to be greedy. I don't know, and just leave it. Just say, we need $15 now. We're not changing anything else. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be brutal. Yeah.
but yeah, I hope they do something. I think most people just obviously people want the game a little bit cheaper, but I think having a little bit of agency would go a long way. You know, other than these just random spotlight caches with random cards that were like, what are we doing? You know.
Yeah, it's critical for making things feel better, and I mean. This is what No Big Deal said right at the beginning. Like, the agency is a huge part of what made the token shop feel better. You knew exactly what you were getting for what you were spending. Mm-hmm. You had full control over it.
Yeah, and also, any other card game on Earth, you pick the cards that you want in your collection. So it's really just Marvel Snap that you get random loot box bullshit. Like, you go play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, you pick your cards. Hearthstone, you turn your cards into dust, and then you take the dust and you pick the cards you want. You could save up, get the legendary you want. All the other card games have, Eternal. There's ways to acquire the exact cards you want. So it's just Marvel Snap that it's just weird fun box with no rhyme or reason that maybe a series drop, maybe it won't. We don't know what's dropping. We don't know when it's going to come back in the cache. It's like, we're just this huge like mind fuck that just really does not feel good. Feels like you're getting duped. Feels like you're getting swindled. And, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to get duped and swindled or scammed. It's not a good feeling. So that's kind of what the card acquisition feels like in this game, and I don't think it needs to. I think I'd happily just spend money to get cards that I want. Like, I think a lot of people would be like that. Hey, I want this card. Let me go buy it for $20. Whatever. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Even when you're interacting with it correctly or like min-maxing or whatever, it feels bad. It's just like, even when I'm optimizing the system, it's just like, I still feel like I'm getting screwed.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. It's been 2 hours. Lauren, I don't want to keep you. I want to respect your time a little bit. I'm sorry. But, hey, thank you so much for coming. It was awesome to have you. You look incredible. The outfit's amazing. The audio listeners are missing out big time. It's great. Love your new podcast, by the way, with Ben and Ree. Snap on this. That's on Spotify. That's on YouTube as well. It's awesome. You guys do great editing. You guys are a lot of fun. You guys have a lot of fun. Your homework and stuff is great on the thing. It's always hilarious to see what you guys do with each other. And then it's a lot more well thought out, and it's awesome. So I love it. Than our just random
praise
nonsense
my podcast without shitting on yours. That's fine.
No, we know what we are. This is the Filthy Casual Podcast. We just, we log in and we figure it out. That's it.
It's right there on the 10. Well, thank you very much. I have a blast talking to them every week, and I think that comes through in the episodes. And I had so much fun talking to you guys today. Thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you so much for coming. It was great. No big deal. Close us out, man. What do you got to say to the people?
Well, first, follow LaurenWhatevs on Twitter. Like, that's a great Twitter follow. A lot of these statistics, you're gonna get like, actual graphs and visual. Like, you could actually go see the numbers. Instead of just me talking about my feelings, you could actually see some math, some actual math from smart people who know what they're doing. So, LaurenWhatevs, LaurenWhatevs. So follow her on Twitter. Awesome Twitter follow. And for the people, I mean, hey, look, it's Tier 0 Agent Venom. It is what it is. It's the pay to win season pass card. I'm not upset about it. I think it's pretty fun. People, let me know, is Storm dead? Can we play Lockdown? Can we crush the meta with Lockdown? Am I gonna get an Infinite Border and my Storm variant with the Lockdown? Is 4/5 Storm gonna take the meta by storm? Are we gonna lock these lanes down? No Goose, Mobius, no fun for you. I'm locking lanes down. Let's rock and roll. Let's get it.
Let's get it. And with that, next OTA, buff the rocks. Peace.
Buff the rocks. Hashtag buff the rocks.